Every episode of No Offsides podcast is brought to you by Champion Hockey. Be a champion. What's up, everybody? This episode is also brought to you by the US Roller Cup, a revolution in roller. Looking for your next tournament? Check out the US Roller Cup in Irvine, California from June 14th to the 16th, 2024. With divisions from club all the way up to men's and women's pro. Check out USRC in Irvine, California, June 14th through 16th, 2024. Join the revolution.
No offside.
And go.
Welcome back for another episode of No Offsides. I'm Dan Dean here with my partner Justin Wood.
What's up?
Our guest today is an alumni from Arizona State University and a member of the Detroit Konixx Rage Cats. Let me correct myself real quick. Welcome, Andrew Hite. How you doing, bud?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Great, man. Great to have you.
Happy to be here, man. Always look forward to doing these.
Hell yeah. Love the hat.
Yeah. Gotta rep it. Gotta rep it while you can.
Mm-hmm.
So, we look at kind of, the teams you play on, where you're from, and it piques our interest. Because one, you're kind of back in where Woody's from, playing up there, right? So, and then also, you hit college hockey, you hit Rage Cats, and we're like, hell yeah, let's talk this stuff. Because, we want to do is talk roller. So, when did you graduate Arizona State?
So I graduated last May 2023. So that was when I was kind of done there, and I got done, and I wish I could have done another 4 years and just went to school forever. But it was some of the best times of my life. I love playing roller out there too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, ASU is great. I used to live out there as well.
Where were you at?
Mesa.
Okay, yeah. So you're right there. We're in Tempe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I mean, Arizona State's been kind of on the up and up, right? Usually one of the teams that comes out of that division usually goes and plays D1, right? I believe they were the ones that got beat by GCU this year. And those two battled hard all season. I guess I'm interested in what made ASU. Oh crap, I can't speak today. What made ASU like so fun and make you want to stay for another 4 years?
Realistically, so I did one semester at Western Michigan, kind of started there right out of high school, and then COVID hit, and I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore. It's freezing cold on the west side of Michigan. So I was like, I've always known Nick Boyarski for my whole life. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna mess around and apply there. And then went out there, did a skate with the team, did a tour, and my parents looked at me and they're like, dude, this is paradise. There's no way you can say no to going here. They looked at me like, if you don't go, we're gonna go for you. So I was like, all right. And it's nice because the rink's 35 minutes away for the main rink in Peoria where everybody plays. Where we were practicing was Queen Creek, so that was a little bit of a hike, and it was so nice because roller out there is just so much more accessible than the East Coast kind of. There's certain spots you get on the East Coast and you're kind of driving an hour or two for a beer league game. It's it kind of gets to the point where it gets a little impractical. And out there, everybody, and Arizona, it's roller first, ice hockey's just hang in with it as a close second. But everybody, all the kids out there, I was coaching some youth, and they all want to just get right into roller, and they love it. And it's
That's awesome.
The people are nice, Alex McDonald, Marvin Simmons, Richard Yusa's out there now from Chicago. He's another good guy, but it's you can't beat the people you meet out there. Everybody's so happy you're in the sun every day,
No,
I do miss that.
Is it a humid sun all year, or
No,
it's dry every day.
Nice.
We were there. I stayed there all last summer before I started my job, and we were golfing in like 115, and it was like you don't even feel it. Like you're just out there for another day, and the courses, like all the nice courses, are cheap, and a lot of the guys from college would be out there working at courses, so we get it for free and do that. But it was like
Nice.
you're pretty much at ASU. You're pretty much like living like you're retired as you go to school. Like, the only thing, class is the only thing you got to do. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. You ever play that course? I think it's called Saguaro.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that has the huge saguaro cactus with all the balls shoved in it?
Oh yeah, and they're just blasted. And that's why I played TPC Scottsdale a lot because my roommate, he used to work there. And it's like, man, you see some of those cactus and you're like, how did these people even survive out here? Like they're just blasted straight through.
Oh yeah.
But man, ASU is just a life. I mean, the coach, I mean, really, like when I got there, like I lived with a couple of the guys from the team, and then when I got there, like it all just like quickly became a family. Like we were all doing everything as a team, hanging out as a team, practicing. You know, like we'd meet up 30 minutes before practice just to hang out and stuff, and spend 3 hours a week at practice, and it just was great. I mean, you just couldn't beat it.
What's practice look like in college? I mean, everyone can look at like what they do and whether they play travel ice or, you know, most people nowadays practice in roller hockey is just playing in a men's league or something like that, right? So, I mean, we've heard from Crafty on how like because when he played at Newman, that, you know, their practices were harder than games. I mean, they had a stacked roster as well when they were in school too. So that, you know, that didn't really help when they played games that they were just destroying people, right? But I'm just curious.
So good.
Yeah. So I'm just curious on like, you know, what is your coach when you were playing, like certain drills they put you through, or, you know, what's some stuff that you had to do during practice?
So when I was there, we were practicing in Queen Creek still. That rink got shut down and bought up by the city, but it was like a full size rink. We were doing that. And we'd start with the breakout kind of, but the whole thing is like with West Coast and East Coast, there's two different styles. Like we could go play a tournament in California for the weekend for college and kind of just man up on everybody and just go attack you all. And then you get to the East Coast, you start playing like Lindenwood and Bethel's, and it's like kind of to start the season, you're more so just skating, get everybody in shape, breaking everything out, just getting kind of following your man, setting picks, and then you start hitting like mid-season and starts turning to like, all right, like we got to get ready to start playing the Lindenwoods, the Bethels, all of them. You know, it's like because we know it's not going to be the same run and gun. You go run and gun with them, and they have 15 guys on the bench. Yeah. That'll be the quickest game of your life.
15 guys that can just stay with whoever you put out on the rink too. It's not even like,
exactly.
Oh, we have a drop-off line. Like, no.
They're all just rolling deep. So we were doing that, and then as we got on through the year, it was more so controlled breakouts, running it through, making sure everybody's getting smooth transitions. Because I mean, that's the biggest thing I think with college roller too is a lot of the teams, you start burning them in transition, you're good. Like you'll be able to burn anyone. Like that's so I think because GCU, when we played there, they were starting off, they were kind of light. Like we were usually beating them up. I think they beat us once that year. But then they came in like this past year, they got some guys, and you could tell like that team could skate. Like they would just start burning, cooking people in transition off the rip. So that's what I think really got them there. I mean, they got a lot of skill too, good guys, but I think they just and Garv, he came in to coach them, and that guy put that team like right in check.
Yeah. Well,
but I think ASU had a tough year against them too. I mean, ASU was young this year and didn't have as many guys as they thought, so it was tough to see them kind of get beat up this year. But supposedly they got some new guys coming in, and it's supposed to be a fresh start coming out.
Good. I mean, I want to see D1 get stronger, right? I want to see more teams be able to go up against Bethel and Lindenwood, right? And so, you know, we talked with Aiden, right? And the joke about it is like miracle on tile, right? And so no one expected it. You know, they're go undefeated for how long now it's been? I don't remember. I mean, when's the last time they lost?
The closest game they had was, I think the most closest game they've had in a while was against us last year at Nationals in the semis. Like I think we lost 4-2 or 4-1, maybe, I don't know. But that was like, when you go out to play them, like we were going off that semifinal game, and all the other teams in D1 and all the other teams in the building and parents, like they're waiting for us to go out there and like, hey, like go beat them. Like everybody's trying to beat them, and it's like, man, like,
oh yeah,
they're trying, dude. They're just so deep.
Yeah.
Do you know if that game was recorded?
I think it might have been on Live Barn because it was at Irvine.
Okay.
So it's probably on there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we know
we're
the
trying to
quality.
figure out how to get more
Yeah.
games so that we can see them.
Yeah, honestly, Live Barn, I think that's like really because I'm pretty positive it was on Live Barn at Irvine. They did live stream it too. I think if you talk to NCRHA, Rob Coggin, he'll usually probably have some film for that.
Okay.
Probably might be able to find that on their website as well. They might have some stuff on there saved on there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, when we talk to Aiden, he's talking about how his team kind of they all had one mission, right? One, you know, everyone had they did everything as a team, like you were saying. But it seems like in order to beat like Lindenwood, you have to have the buy-in from 100% of your players, right?
Yeah.
You have to have everyone just doesn't like put egos aside, put whether you think you're better than someone, but it doesn't matter. Buy in, whatever the team's got to do, you got to do it, right? You want to beat the best, you got to. You just have to. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. You have to just let any animosity, any doubts, they all got to go. You got to trust with it. There's got to be 100% trust throughout your entire team in order to beat Lindenwood. So
yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I think with them, like that was their biggest problem last year. Is like they were a brand new squad and they had a lot of guys that were from all over the place, and they just had like ended up getting a lot of egos on their team. You could tell like when we played them first semester before Garv got on their bench for them, he was told like they would just go out there and they would be yelling at each other, like fighting with each other. So it was like, all right, like we're gonna let them beat themselves, and then we'll just beat them as we go. Then they kind of pieced it together and they just slowly got better throughout the year. And I think that's what really brought them there too. And that's another thing. If you have college or you have like one or two guys that can't skate and they're playing a lot of time because you're low on guys, they're gonna get exposed. Like that's why it gets tough because you gotta have all guys that can skate and all they're gonna buy in. Because if you don't, you can't go 75% in on a 110% team, you know.
Yeah. Well, and you look at college too, right? You look at just the layout of it. You got about 30 teams in D3. You got maybe half that for D2, and then there's AA, and then there's D1, right? And what is your experience with between the teams in D1 and AA? Is there much of a difference?
I mean, honestly, no. I think that would be like D2. I mean, D2. That was like a couple of good teams. Like Fullerton was originally D1 when I was there. Then our second year they got dropped down, which I still think they probably could have rolled D1. Maybe not would have like win it, but they still had like the competition level of kids. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing is like that's like the rule with NCRHA. If you have a D1 program, you can't have a D2 or a D3. You have to have a AA. You can only have a D1 and a AA.
Yeah,
so that's like where it kind of like that AA like. You would get to the point like our AA team was solid, but like you would get to the point where like these kids are gonna go play that Lindenwood team or one of those two Lindenwood teams, and they're just gonna go get beat up. Like there's just that team is so deep, the way they practice. Like I don't know, kind of like you kind of have to feel for those kids on the Lindenwood AA team too, because they could easily be playing D2 or easily be another D1 team. You know, it's like kind of sucks that they get stuck in AA because I'm sure like you go there at every tournament, you want to just go win it and run it, but when you're beating teams by 15 goals and stuff, how much fun can that really be? You got to get to the point where you just feel bad, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's insane on how strong both their teams are. Like said, you could probably take that team and then you put Lindenwood versus Lindenwood in potentially the championship if that was possible, but it's not allowed. Yeah. So, I mean, and they have a D3 team too, don't they?
No, they have two AA teams.
Two AA teams. Okay.
Yeah, they have one D1 and then I think like a Lindenwood Black and Lindenwood Gold or something.
Which the fact that they're producing that many teams is insane.
I mean, Missouri's a powerhouse. Missouri's another one of those sneaky powerhouses for roller where like kids are like, all right, like I can go live at home and go to school and go play roller and travel for roller. Like that's like might as well go do it, you know?
I wish that was an option.
Like with ASU and recruiting, you know, it's so hard to get guys out there because we don't get like scholarships like that from the school. Like we get academic scholarships. That's one way to get it, which they're not too bad to get them there, but it's still like you got to travel out there, pay. I mean, you're paying out of state tuition. It's not cheap. So it's like, that's the hardest thing with recruiting kids there. Like we had a couple kids my last year there that came out for like a recruiting visit, skated with the team, did like dinner and stuff. And they're just like, I don't even think the kid ended up deciding to go into any college at all. I think he's still doing ice, but it's like it's the hardest part because like you get there, like you take anybody on a tour through ASU, they're not going to say no. I mean, they're going to be like, all right, like where do I sign the line? And then they figure out how much money it is for out-of-state tuition. They're like, whoa, college isn't cheap.
Well, it's
I
think
crazy.
it's like every college though, right? You look at it and you go, okay, I want to go to this college at a state tuition, $45,000 on the cheap end, right? And then you go in-state tuition, like, okay, this is affordable, but yeah, I mean, if you're looking, you look at it, it's not very. You got pockets of population, right, in a place like Arizona, and you're looking at potentially recruiting, and someone's going to probably choose a local college or ice hockey over going to travel and spending $50,000-$60,000 a year.
Exactly.
Especially now, I mean, with the loans that they are today, it's kind of hard to like say like, yeah, go do it, go in debt.
We'll get a 15% loan.
Yeah.
You're talking about how big of a difference bringing in a new coach for GCU made. What was your coaching presence like at ASU?
So we had Alex Dote was there and Nick Boyarski. Those were our two main coaches. Dote really did a lot of the stuff with the school, like helped us, like the presidents, all that, doing everything. And Boyle was kind of he was the main roller to make sure we're all at practice because Dote was a teacher. But I mean, this guy, you talk to him, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And he has such a big brain for the game of roller. And like, they've both seen so many different styles. I mean, Dote used to play there when they used to have a sick team. Like it was Clay Taylor used to be there. This kid, Tyler Kitzel, he's pretty good. And they had a stack team, but you could just tell they got that level of respect from everybody too. Like when they're going to speak, you're going to listen. Like if you don't want to listen, like you're going to know, like he's not going to yell at you, but he's going to give you that look where it's like, okay, sorry. So it's like everything that they ran, there was never really like a question. Like, yeah, sure, there were certain times where like you'd be like, all right, like come on, can we maybe try this? But it's like every time it was always like, this is the team we're playing. This is why we're going to play like this. So it's like you didn't even have the time to question if you want. Like you just knew, like, all right, sounds good. Like let's go do it. Just go execute.
What do you think was like the biggest thing you took away from the coaching staff there?
Really? I mean, really it was like building their relationships because this is like with them, like they would always like, we take a team bus to California, like any place we went, and we would like, the biggest thing was like making it a family and like a friend. Like that's what I really understood with like coaching, because I coach a lot of the youth teams here. So it's like doing that. It's like when you become that relationship with the kids and, like you draw the line though. It's like, all right, like you're a friend, but this is the line where you're going to be a coach. So it's like they feel available and open because it's like, they were never the ones where they're going to sit there and like scream at you. Like they know, like we're not even going to waste your breath. Like we're just going to, all right, you just had a bad shift. Come over here. This is what you need to do next one. Like it was never like beat you down about it. It was always like, all right, like you're going to get back out there and get back on the horse and go get it. And like you got that. And like they always kind of gave me that drive. Like, all right, took one bad shift, made one bad call, maybe one bad pass. And it was like, all right, we're going to turn up and go. Like now it's like this next shift, we're going to just keep going harder. And it's like, I don't know, that's what I kind of always fed off of them. Like I'd come to the bench and I'd just be like, all right, like I got more gas now. Like we're going to keep running. I'm like running. That's why like my first year at ASU, like people would be, some of these like skinny guys on the team. I mean, 115 pounders would be on the bench. They'd be like, I can't breathe, like puking. I'm looking at them like, hey guys, like our first game in like preseason, I'm looking, I go, hey guys, I go, we don't get tired here. I was like, everybody get ready. I was like, we don't get tired. I was like, we're going to keep going. And like everybody, that was like for the rest of the year, everybody's like, we don't get tired.
Okay. You can't get tired.
And those games in college are so long, man. I mean, you're out there and it feels like you're doing like a full Palma Pro game. Like it feels like you're just never ending. Like you look at the clock and you're like, oh, like we're still in the first period. We still have 2 more left. Like here we go.
Yeah. And it's stop time too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was long. I think it was 3:12 stop time, I want to say. So yeah, it was like infinity games out there.
Yeah, it's but it's sweet though, because it's like you're being pushed to your breaking point, right? Because it makes the game, every second is not wasted. So every second is very important. Whereas like when you get into tournaments and it's run clock, right? Then it's like, oh, we could just hold the puck and run the clock out. And oh, goalie, just cover the puck up, run the clock off.
Yeah, go sit.
Like, yeah. And
that's always too. Like so many guys had to get used to it. Like these games are so long. These kids bring 4 bottles on the bench and they're gone in like middle of the game. So I got to the point where I'm like, all right, like in practice, like our 3-hour long practices, I'm like, all right, like I'm not drinking any water. I'm like, I'm just gonna train myself to we're not gonna need it and we're just gonna get through it. And like I'll be playing here and men's league and guys are like, you don't want any water? I'm like, man, I don't need it. I'm like, I'll just do it dry the whole game. I'm like, that's how I just train myself.
Well, also, I mean, if you're water, so that's what people don't understand. Water during the game does nothing for you.
Yep.
Your hydration comes 2 hours, like up to from drinking anything before 2 hours before your game. And so you hydrate during the day. And then when you get to game time, you really shouldn't. Sure, I mean, your mouth gets dry, drink a little bit, sure, whatever. But the water you drink does nothing for you during the game. It doesn't hydrate you, doesn't stop you from cramping. And it just, it's almost like a placebo. It's like, oh, I'm drinking water on the bench. I'm ready to go my next shift. It's like,
that's exactly how it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. I look at guys all the time. They get to the bench, they start chugging water. And I'm like, maybe you should do some cardio. I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe mix in a treadmill or a run.
Yeah.
I like that you're in the desert and you train to be a camel.
Pretty much. Just turned myself fully into a camel. I'm like, we're just gonna survive. I was like, survival of the fittest, fellas. I mean, we'd have practice and there'd be guys puking everywhere, and I'm like, dude, like we're an hour in. Like, what are we doing? Like you guys weigh at least probably 80 pounds, 50 pounds lighter than me. I'm like, get moving.
They need fat on their body so they can store more water.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys need to beef up. I would literally tell them. This one kid, we go and I'd be like, dude, like eat whatever you want, like get everything. Like we'd go to Red Ramen, like that was always like a tradition we'd do when we go like to East Coast find stuff. I'd be like, dude, eat everything, tear it up.
Definitely. So what was the main rink that you would play at?
So the main rink was Peoria Sportsplex. That was like where we would have like that was all the beer leagues. Like they do this Arizona Draft League out there, and it's 6 guys per team, and they draft them. There's 4 teams, I think. And you do that, nice. And it's State Wars like time. So you're out there for a long time with 6 guys. But we do that. But we practiced. Our main rink was Queen Creek, and then the city bought it. So now they're practicing at Peoria too, splitting that with GCU.
What do you guys got for tile?
They have the still mat out there. My first year they got it in at because the tile was they'd have volleyball there in Queen Creek, so. All those girls would come out there with the dirtiest shoes, and you get out there and the floor just had like a thin layer of dirt on it. So we'd get out there and be like, all right, like you take a hard turn, like be prepared to go down. Like you were smacking hips. And then they got the still mat in, and it was just a whole different story. And then they took that still mat, I think, over to Peoria too.
Very cool.
Nice.
So nice. It's such a nice floor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I said still mat is, in my opinion, the fastest tile that you can play on, as long as there's no elements that, like for instance, Hendersonville rinks.
Yeah,
it's like you get the elements that you get the pollen, you get the dust, and it changes what real still mat is. It's still fast. It's still it's still fun to play on, but you can't necessarily do the things on that still mat tile that you could do if you were indoor.
Yeah, you got to take semi-truck turns when it starts getting a little dirty.
Well, yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's like guys try and put the brakes on as fast as they can, and they just slide out, and you're like, no, press the brakes, just tap the brakes.
Yeah, ease onto them. I think too, like that still mat, like using it when State Wars first brought it in, like so many people were complaining about the puck because the puck's different, a little heavier. Like the guys that would always just use like a light rocket puck their whole life, like the main ones complaining about it. But, like you can actually I get those, and like you can actually feel the puck again. Like I just played a tournament in Oakville a couple weeks ago. Some of my like buddies from Rage Cats, a couple of Skittles guys, and you get out there and they're using a still mat puck on just a regular floor, and it just feels you have such a better feel on the puck, and your shot just comes off like so much better.
Yeah, it's the still mat puck. I love it. I mean, it's great. And at first, when I started playing on the still mat with the still mat puck, it takes a little bit to get used to because you're playing with IDS, you're playing with pro shot pucks, right? And so like it's just like, oh, it's going from the lighter to the heavier, and you hit your stick and Jesus, Justin.
I was trying to tell everyone that we were live now and get us pumped up at the same time.
I thought that's your ringtone. I'm like, that fired me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have the still mat puck, right? And when you go from the lighter puck at first and you're used to playing with nothing but IDS and stuff like that, and then the semi puck, you take a pass and you're like, holy crap, it just exploded through my stick. And so what I found with the Stillmat puck is that like you have to be a little more finesse with it, right? Especially if you don't play with Stillmat all the time. And also that thing is whipped, and when it's getting whipped around, it's got such a spin on it that if you don't cradle that puck and you just like kind of like let it hit your blade and kind of like try and go with it, it's just going to ricochet off your blade and go. And you're like, oh shit, that thing's moving faster than I thought it was.
Yeah.
So, but once you're able to realize what that puck does on that tile, it's a completely different game.
Oh, 100%.
What puck do they use in college?
The worst one of them all. They use the Bauer pucks.
I don't know if I know what that is.
One. Literally, after this, look it up, and it's like, it's nuts that they still use them because they're like $15 a puck. No matter if you get it, like they don't give out discounts. So you're buying them 15, 13 a puck no matter what. And they just explode left and right. Like the pegs fall out of them. I'm surprised they honestly haven't got rid of them yet.
Is that with the triangle pegs?
Yes.
That's what they use in college?
Yep.
What the?
And you get like, say, like you leave them in the car, like even in the night in Arizona, it gets a little chilly. You bring them out in practice like the next day, those things just start exploding everywhere, like just breaking clean in half. Like it's insane.
Gee, I don't even know what to say about that puck. I
don't know what to say about that. They must have a good deal with them because I'm like, I don't know how they're.
I feel like Bauer just needs to level their game up.
I don't even know I don't even know if like Bauer even has them posted on their website.
Yeah, it's on their website.
Maybe they just bought a lot.
But getting to it is tricky.
Exactly.
They're called the Bauer RH Sliver Puck.
Yep. They're terrible.
They don't look fun. They even have vents through the middle of them.
Oh, yeah. You're lucky you haven't had to encounter one yet.
I mean,
I actually have one in my bag that I found. And the reason I found it is probably because no one wanted it.
Man, that thing's wicked. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. That's exactly how I felt.
Oof. But
even on the still mat, they'll use that?
Any floor, no matter where they go. Yep.
What?
Doesn't even matter. It's like stuck to it.
I'm curious if that is I gotta look later on to see if they even on the college website, NCRHA, if they say what puck they use on their website, because that would be interesting if they're even like advertising that. Which I'm looking at their homepage right now, and it says nothing about what puck they use.
No, they won't.
I wouldn't advertise that. Let's talk about something that you do want to advertise. You want to talk about Konixx a little bit?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean that is my go-to. I mean, pretty much since I was 13. I mean, so originally the Boyo came out here with AMAC. Well, not out here, out to Florida with Alex McDonald and Chad Cole, Dirty Chad, and they came out and they combined with the Rattler Cats, and they kind of played Florida together, and they kind of came out, brought the Arizona, the Outcast uniforms were those, and then kind of got that partnership hooked up. I think that was about 2013 in Estero at Narch, and ever since then, I mean, I skated on those white, like the original Konixx Pures, and I was like, never another wheel. Like, I was hooked on him. I mean, and Boyo is such a good guy. Like, he's like one of those guys you have to support. Like, if you meet him and you know him, like Nick, and it's like, that was my coach, and like I've always helped him with some teams out there. Such an easy guy to talk to, such a great guy. And those wheels, I mean, they started with the Konixx White, the Pure, and then now it's on the Pure X. Still, like, love those. Those are the go-to. I mean, that's like a lot of guys out here. They like, all right, like, what's a good wheel? Like, we can actually get that. Because, you know, like, a lot of the beer league guys, they're not trying to go spend $100 on wheels every couple months. You know, it's like they want a wheel that's going to last and be there for a while. So I put them all in the Pure X and just actually got a couple fresh sets for some guys. And they're like, dude, like, we love them. Like, first game, like, at first game, they're like, all right, like, why? Like, every time I turn, my body's lifting up. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a brand new wheel and you're actually getting grip. Then like second game, it's perfect. And I'm like, yep. So I've been always with him. And then like that's kind of originally our Rage Cats team was with Mission Bauer. And then Tommy Neer and Sean Riley kind of got out of that with them. And so we was like kind of had to make the decision. And I talked to Boyle. I was like, man, like if there's anybody I want to go with, it's you. And like we got those uniforms hooked up and we do wheels with them and kind of do t-shirts, everything. And that's why we kind of turned into the Konixx Rage Cats as one of their main supporters. It's like us and Black Ice, really.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when they had the Konixx Piers, I was using those wheels for a while, and then they just stopped making the Konixx Pure, and they went to the Pure. Would you say it's the Pure?
The Pure X, the black
Pure X, yeah.
ones.
Yeah, and so like from that transition, and I couldn't find them anymore. I tried the Techions, I think that's what they're called, and wasn't really that much of a fan of that wheel in particular. Just different wheel.
Those are more so like a harder base, like
yeah,
kind of like for a heavier set wheel. That's like performance. They're a little like those are like the kind of the lower ones, but like you get on those Pure X's, man, you can't beat them. And like lately, I mean, ever since my first year at school a couple years ago, we've been kind of testing some new wheels, trying to get some new wheels. So they have some stuff coming. Those some I skated on at State Wars that were just another good wheel coming out where it's like, all right, like I just texted him the other day. I'm like, do you have any of these new wheels anymore? And he's like, nope, like we're waiting for my bats. And I was like, all right, like I'll take some of the Pure X's again. Like I don't know. It's like when you find a good wheel that you like, it's like you are like addicted. Like you don't want to buy anything else. Like I was like, I'm good here. I'm like, I'm stuck here. I'm like a creature of habit. I'm like, I'll do this every day with him. I actually got to call him today and talk about some stuff. So I was like, he's another guy you guys should try to get in contact with. He's always busy, but he's a great chatter.
All right,
Deal.
Definitely.
I do want to say that those jerseys are sick.
Yeah, like honestly, that was so like quick to do it too. Like the guy I talked to, like it was like, all right, like in and out, like, hey, here's what I want. Like showed him our old uniforms. We want to keep these colors. And then we originally started with the navy and the white, which is like kind of like a whitish gray, like a light gray. And then I told him like, hey, like after like Matt Kleski passed away, who kind of created the Bordercats and like all of us helped us all, got us all where we were and always took care of everyone. I was like, we're going to put that, the Bordercat head with the 93 on it and do that baby blue. And we got there and we pulled them out at tours. I mean, every team after we got to our third game and pulled them out, like every team we're playing against. So like, dude, like how many more uniforms you guys have? Like those are unreal. Like Tyler Spezia came up to me and my buddy Cal, and like he's always like a hometown, like good family friend. And he was like, man, like you guys easily have the best uniforms here. And it was like, we got to State Wars and George, like we ended up hearing it from one of the game, like Jacko Hannison lit it up for like 6 goals to get top scorer in like the last game of State Wars. He was just yelling about these uniforms, like going nuts. Like I was like, all right, like, that feels good. And, like they did their little like I think it was him and Trefty did the like uniform rankings, and all our baby blues are in the first of all of them. So it was like, all right, like we did something right there. So we're gonna roll those probably for a couple more years. I mean, they just stay in such good shape. Those True Threads, it just stays so nice.
Good to know.
Yeah, I mean those are definitely clean uniforms. That's the best part though, is like you can get a little wild at roller jerseys, right? I mean, you talk about uniforms, you look at Black Ice. I mean, those yellow ones those things are loud.
From the past year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're loud, man. And it's just like, holy crap, like can we get any louder?
And I'm glad they honestly brought those back, because they originally, like when that team, I think it was honestly like 2011, 2012 was like when that team really like blew up, like Kraft and Shane Fox and DiMartino and them blew up. They had that same like yellow concept jersey, like, but it had some baby blues, like when they were with Mission too. And then they went to black and purple for a while. And then I saw them bring back that. And I was like, all right, like now they're coming back to normal. Like it looks good.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm interested, maybe some of the viewers are. I mean, where was the transition from the Border Cats to the Rage Cats?
So that was about 2014 State Wars. I think it was in Fort Wayne. So it was like me and I don't know if you guys know Cal Kafuk. He's always been a top player in pro. He's been playing. He went to Providence, just finished there, but he's like one of my best friends. So him and I have been growing up playing together since we were about 10, 11. And he we got to the point where it's like they were doing it in roller, where it's like, all right, 2000s, 2001 age group one year, and then 2099s the next year. So your team just kept switching for us. Like, we were the two main guys staying there, and it just kept rotating and rotating. So we got to the point where we're like, all right, like I know a lot of other teams are going through this, and it's like, we can't do this anymore. So we always played the KW Rage out of Kitchener-Waterloo in Ontario. And we always that was the one team we were always fighting with. We were playing our top games against them. So we got to the point where I was like, all right, like I did a skills competition, just kind of messing around at State Wars, did that. And I met Drew Girth out there, Carter Bulow, and Hunter Tilson, which I played with Hunter Tilson before that. He's from Missouri. And I kind of was up to them, hey, you guys want to make a powerhouse team and just kind of take this over for a bit? And they were like, honestly, why not? Because they were doing the same thing. We were hunting for ice guys. Some of them can only play this, some of them can only play that. And I knew they all just played roller all the time. So I was like, let's just do this. And after that, I think I got their numbers there at the skills competition, right after. And then we all just became literally that's a team. I call my brothers. A lot of those guys, I don't even have to text them to make sure that they're in for a tournament. I'm like, hey, this is when we're going. And they just text back, okay, see you there. No matter what, they're going to be there. Drew Girth, most reliable, loyal guy. Kyle Soper too. He's another one. They played on that Rattler Cats team. Then when we made it to pro, he came over and played with their team came with us, him and Brandon Glover. And they've been playing pro for a few years now. They've been some top players in the pro. So we took over them and we kind of all just molded into one. And we picked up some new guys this summer and got some guys back. So it's after we made that team and we started playing, we played all the local tournaments here, when you used to have to play qualifiers to get in. We were just pumping people. So it got to the point where I was all right, we know we're going to be a problem here. So it was let's go do this. And then Roadrunners, we played them every year. We kind of were just waiting to play Roadrunners in the championship. We knew it was going to be us versus them. And did that, lost a couple. We went on a silver streak for a minute. So then always something we lose on the worst bounce too. We lost in Mississauga to that Halton Coyotes 01 team, which they were just that team. Only team I've ever seen, honestly, win State Wars, win Narch, win Tour, and Tours. They swept all three in a summer. So this team was just a powerhouse. And then they split up. We picked up a couple guys from their team. Brian Foster from Skittles, he played with us. Patrick Volgan, and we kind of all just molded in together. And we've all been best friends since. We always keep in touch, and that's why I just went up to Oakville. Actually, just hung out with them. Literally had a weekend there, beat up some guys in a tournament there, and carried on.
Very cool.
Now, is the Rage Cats playing in any of the summer tournaments this year in pro?
Yeah, so we're doing tours. That is for sure. We'll be at tours, and then State Wars. We already got our bid. We luckily don't have to do the play-in.
And that's what I was leading to, right? Is this play-in? I mean, you have a second Black Ice team coming in, right?
Those kids are going to be young. I think they're going to be younger.
You got another Car Shield team coming in. You have the Champion Wheelers, who, they from every person that they've released, they're pulling them from all different places, right? The NSIHL, they're pulling them from California and stuff like that. But that's a potential nice, good team coming through. Blood and Feathers are in the relegation. Skittles are in the relegation. I guess Team Sweden's back, but the last time Sweden was there, they weren't Team Sweden, I believe.
No, they came last year and didn't go too good for them.
Yeah, and that was a mixed team though. I think they had some guys from was it Mexico on it or Colombia, or they weren't fully Team Sweden?
I'm not too sure, but you could just tell. That's the worst part. You feel so bad with those guys coming all the way from Sweden. It's when they get there and get on that full big rink sheet, you could tell these guys were just they had some players where you're watching them whoa, this guy is good, and then you get out there and midway through the game and they're just gassed.
Yeah,
I know with that plan, I know a lot of guys are not happy. But it's we're automatically the top. So it worked. The top 8 teams are automatically in from the year before every year in Palma. So you make the playoffs, you're automatically in the next year. And Mars Blade, actually, they're no longer a team. So I think Team France automatically got their bid. And so Mars Blade, I think that Car Shield team is going to have some of those Mars Blade guys.
Okay.
So they should be. I mean, they're a sneaky team too. They'll be playing hard, and that's like the team. They're in their hometown. They'll power up with some guys. But Skittles, I think a lot of my buddies that are on Skittles, they're like, it sucks because like if they come, like they're like, dude, if we have some of these guys come from California and we don't make it, and we have to play in this like lower, like was it like a tier 2 pro division or something?
Yeah.
Like we are just not going to be happy. I'm like, well, you guys got to just play good. Like you got to earn your spot. Like that's the whole reason. And I think it saves Tim a lot of nonsense too, because I know like Tim tried to do the SummerSlam. Was like, hey, like top 2 teams from SummerSlam are in. Like that's how Blood and Feathers got in. That's how North Park got in, I think, last year. Because it's like, him, like these teams from the West Coast, they don't ever want to travel to anything on the East Coast. So it's like, he's not going to come out there for you every time. And it's like, that's why like his phone would be blowing up. Hey, like, are we in? Are we in? Like, did we get a bid? Did we get a bid? Like last year we got in because we transferred from over to the the Bordercats made the playoffs last year. And then we transferred over from them to us. So we just automatically got their bid.
Yeah.
But it was like now, like I mean, I get it why you'd be frustrated. I mean, imagine coming from Sweden, coming from California, and you don't even get to go get a chance at the big money. I mean, there's still money, but you want to go play for the money and the whole pride of winning that tournament. That's like, I think State Wars every year is the staple of the year. Like,
absolutely.
It's ran fluid. Everything is the same. No problems. You know what you're going to get. It's cut and dry. And Tim just, man, he's such a good guy. He keeps it all such in clear.
Well, and you look at it too, right? I mean, this is definitely a step up from just taking top 2 in SummerSlam, right? Because you're setting it up to, you got to earn it now, right? That you are now, because like you said, SummerSlam is not necessarily the pro teams are playing against pro teams. So, right, if you have 2 actual teams that have been playing in pro that play SummerSlam, right, and then they win it, and it's like, okay, like, because Blood and Feathers they're not a pushover. They skate hard. Yeah, they skate hard. They're a quick team. They just have not had the best schedules. They have not been. They've had some rough schedules. Now they got to win some games because they haven't won one yet. In round robin, which they haven't made any playoffs. So you got you got the Nicky Wydock goodbye tour going this year. So hopefully they get him some wins. Hopefully they get him out of these.
He loves the game too, man. That guy plays. He comes to Legends every year and he cracks me up. But it's like that team. Like they were our last game of the round robin last year at State Wars. So we get to the point where, like, all right, like they're 0-3. Like hopefully they're just going out there to be done. And we got out there and we go down like 2 goals and we all get to the bench, kind of like look at each other like, you guys know what's going on right now? Like we're down 2 goals. Like, can we figure this out? And then Jack O'Hannison just went on a tear and scored 6. Like he got to 3 and we looked at him like, we're just gonna give you the rock. And then he just started getting and just running up the rink right to the back of the net. Like it was automatic. It was nuts.
Yeah, I think I watched that game because I remember you guys going down 2-0 and I was like, what is going on here?
We had no clue either. We were all just looking at each other. Like we were ready to be done with the day. We were like I think we were the last game of the night. So we're like, all right, like these guys are 0-3. They're not gonna. They don't really care if they win or not. They cared. they didn't roll over. We were shocked.
I mean, you still have Ringster Propel. That's also the team that you just don't know who's playing on that team, right? So
they played at Tours last year. That's usually some younger guys from the East Coast. They're all good. They're all pretty good too. They'll put up at least good numbers. Like some of them, that's why I'm like kind of nice to see it too, because like, I don't know, you go to Tours and like a lot of people get in and like you see some of these teams, like there was one team last year that was like all like 18 and like 16-year-olds. And they were just like, you've seen some people get them on their schedule. And I was like, all right, like you guys are just going to go, like Pama, I think, played them. And it's like, dude, those kids are terrified to go out there and play you right now.
Yeah.
That's why like we were saying like last year at Tours, like Pama got like, honestly, they got the best schedule. Like, and then, but it's like not best because it was easiest, but then you get to playoffs and like you see a real team for the first time all tournament and you're kind of like, oh shit, like we actually do have to skate. Like we do actually have to play the game. Like, so that's like, I think that's what kind of like jumped them, kind of bit them at the end at Tours. Like I think they played Black Ice or something in quarters or semis and they snuck them. And you could just tell like those guys they didn't see the same teams that they saw. And that's like, I think that's what everybody says, like you get a hard schedule, but like you get to the point where like we got like last year at State Wars, we played Pama, Snipers, Skittles, and Blood and Feathers. And it's like we've seen our schedule and it's like perfect. Like you can't be scared of a hard schedule. That's
No.
what you want. If you survive that schedule, you're gonna go into the playoffs and feel just fine.
Yeah.
It's like you want to see that first.
Well, that's why Eton was like, I would rather, because there's always debate, right? How many teams is a perfect number? Do you let more teams in? Do you not? Because there's always like the watered down. Is the pro division getting watered down by having more teams? So you kind of get by doing this whole play in, and if they start doing it every year, I think you're going to wean out the teams that are just getting smoked in the play in, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, we're not a pro team. So I think it's actually a good thing to do where you have a play in with, was that 2, 4, 6, 8 teams to make it in, the top 2 make it in.
It's
and then they're
what they have to do. They have to play 3 games that Thursday, and the top 2 out of like 3 games in one day, and then the top 2 make it in.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. I'm like those teams, like whoever's gonna have to play in that play-in and survives to make it in, they're really coming into like fresh, like powerhouse teams. Like their weekend's just gonna get harder and longer.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the only thing where I kind of like feel for them, like the Skittles guys. Like that's what I was telling them. Like, you guys get in, like it's still like you're gonna just be like you're just jumping over the wall at that point. And now you're going to war. So it's like there's no way your body's gonna feel great when it's Friday.
Yeah. But then again, though, I mean, these 2 teams that come in through the play-in, right? They could potentially surprise someone's first game.
Yeah.
Right. Guys get off and they're like, you're trying to get your feet under you, right? And you maybe just got off a plane, or you've been sitting around all day, or these guys just played yesterday. So you could potentially see an upset because these guys are loose. These guys are like, shit, we just played 3 games yesterday. We're ready to go. So like their round robin games might be better than their playoff games.
Yeah.
By the time they get in the playoffs, they're probably like, we're exhausted.
Yeah. It's a bloodbath. Like that's so true though too, because like your first game, like our first game at State Wars last year, we played Palma, and we were there, and then you could tell some of the guys who weren't in shape, like one kid was puking all game. We were like, dude, like just get him. Like he literally had to he just went to the locker room, took his jersey off, sat in the locker room, like just puking. And like our goalie, like Lane Hartwell, he let in one from the boards, like a tough shot, but from Seymour, but like he was pissed, and we looked at him, we're like, dude, like it's not your fault. Like we're all equally as lost right now. Like we're just dead. Like we're obviously putting on a first game flat.
Yeah. Well, and Lane Hartwell's he's fucking solid, man. So it's like
he's a great grab.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at some of the goalies you look forward to watching. I mean, I put him on that list of like if I get the opportunity to watch Lane play in net, I'm absolutely staying. Even if the game's at 1:00 in the morning, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that game.
Yeah, so, he was my roommate at school. That's like how I originally I met him through roller a little bit before, like kind of, and then he lived with me at school, and he's like honestly one of my best friends now. It's like I'm keeping up with him and all of his stuff in France. He's going through playoffs right now, but he's also one of those guys like where if you're a coach, like you don't even have to really you don't have to go in and be like, hey man, like what are we doing last game? Like he's gonna be the first one to tell you, like, hey, like we got into that game after Palma. He's like, blows the door open. He's like, my fault, boys. Like he sat there for a couple minutes. He's like, my fault, boys. Like that's on me. Didn't play that good. We're like, dude, like it's not all on you. Like we played equally as bad. Like, we lose as a team, we win as a team. And he's a guy that he'll go in, he'll go watch the film after the game and go tune it up. Like when we were at ASU, he was the one guy that was like, all right, we're gonna do film because you guys got to figure it out. Because he's so into the game and loves the game so much. Like you see him behind the net, like you want to go harder. Like you like, all right, like you're only you're playing for your teammates on the rink with you playing. So you look back and see him and you're like, all right, like when I was at ASU, like we do warm-ups and like I literally got to the point where I hit him in the head once. He was pissed. So I was like, all right, I got to the point in warm-ups where I was like throwing him like change ups, like not even trying to shoot the puck. I was so scared. I was like, he's gonna beat me with his stick if I hit him again.
I love the memes on like men's league warm-ups, right? And it's just the league, and then you have like Pavel Barber that makes fun of like men's league warm-ups, and it's just like goalie stretching on the side, just gets hit in the face. And, it's just stuff like that. It's just hysterical because it's true though. You go into a men's league where there's roller ice and guys just try and snipe and then but just can't snipe it, and then end up hitting the goalie in the throat, or like hitting him in the face, right? And it's like, come on, guys, just hit him with the puck.
I think that's why goalies don't get in right away during warm-ups. They're like, I'm gonna let them get all the high ones out first, and then hopefully they'll tune it up, and I'll get some real shots eventually.
That's
And
why I
that's why
don't.
I'm still terrified to shoot on goals, like in warm-ups. Like I'm still so scared because I like just think about him yelling at me. Like Chucky Robinson, he's another good pro goalie. He plays for North Park, and he's our goalie on Tuesday nights. And I'm still like, I rip one and it goes high and wide, so I kind of like slowed it down, just like lofting him at him. I'm like, please just hit his pad or something. I'm like, I can't hit him.
Yeah.
We have a couple questions from the chat, if you don't mind, if we jump into those.
For sure.
What do you think about Buzz Central?
Buzz Central. That is a bunch of good guys out there. That's Chase Steele's playing with them. He was my old roommate, and DC Dirty Chad plays with them. I mean, dude, those guys are all. I think Don Carter, one of our players, even play with them. And dude, these guys are like, they're all time. I mean, they go out to the rink and they're the ones they're gonna go lot it. They're gonna go grill. Like, if there's a team that you want to play with in men's plat, that's who you want to play with. Like, kind of like Steele, my roommate, which I couldn't really get on the pro teams. Who like Boyle kind of told me, dude, go play with these guys. And you kind of meet them. They're all such good guys. Like, they all mean well too, and they have a blast doing it.
I guess they're playing Team Columbia.
When? Oh, this weekend?
I don't know. That's what the chat says is who's winning, Buzz Central or Team Columbia? I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know when they would play them, but
Yeah.
they will be shocked how hard those Colombians skate because they don't stop.
Yeah.
Damn. That's what we've heard. We also had someone asking, do we think Fort Wayne will host another State Wars, and what do we think about them as a venue?
I think 100%. I think Tim is forever going to keep that. I mean, he's got such a good deal with the city and that whole rink. I mean, you guys been to State Wars at Fort Wayne, right?
I have not, but I've
You have
watched-
both. You haven't?
no.
Nope.
So it's literally like they have a 3-wing facility, and there's a whole bar that goes all the way across the top with full
Nice.
pane glass and full, like, their food's great. So full pane glass, full bar goes all the way across. I can almost promise you that's not going to change because Tim always keeps that same rotation. St. Louis, I think it goes Fort Wayne, St. Louis, then next year it's going to be in Michigan. And they just keep that same rotation because he gets the deals he makes with this city is that he brings in so much money for them and himself. Like, you kind of just can't beat it. Like, I don't think, and he's got it such down to a clean system. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for him to switch it.
You look at just, was it AB and what he put out there, like, registration is going to close at the end of this month for State Wars because last time we were in St. Louis, we had 60 teams, and it's like 60 teams in one division. And I think towards AB last year was 37. It's like, damn.
I don't think people get to like how like the men's platinum and like the senior AB, that's the top one below pro, right? Or no, senior double A.
I think it's AB, double A. It depends on the tournament series, honestly, because there's
people don't understand how good these teams are. Like, that's where like some of these, like you said, like it'll wean, like that play-in will kind of wean them out and be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be playing pro. Like that Silver Knights team, like that qualifier a couple weeks ago in California, they just won the tournament, the pro division. Like that Silver Knights team is good. Like, a lot of people underestimate those platinum teams, don't actually think what they can do.
Yeah, it's
Agreed.
I mean, I've heard nothing but great things about all three venues that they go to, right? I mean, you have 3 rinks, all still mat, right? Because he brings it all in.
Yep.
It is the pinnacle of the summer, and the thing is, being in North Carolina, we don't really get a chance to put a team in because it's kind of tough for us, especially traveling over that way in that direction as well.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah, and I mean the closest one is probably St. Louis, which is 8-9 hours drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing from here too.
Damn.
So, yeah, it's
plus
so
it's just not really roller here, at least on our side of the state.
True. Got a good old mountain hockey,
which is such killer because like every time I move, I'm like, all right, like where's like the only play, like I don't know. I was looking at getting some job offers from like Dallas and stuff, and I was kind of looking like roller's a hike to get out there. So it's like to go to AZ, kind of know everything. Like I don't know, roller's one of those things like I'm gonna play until my knees fall off. Like I don't plan on quitting soon. So it's like whenever I go next, that's where I'm gonna have to make sure that's there.
Yeah, I mean the roller scene in Texas though is definitely growing. I got to give them a shout out because it's like Florida, right? You get there and you start driving, and you just drive for hours.
Yep.
And so, and that's Texas. Is that the rinks? They have rinks. They're just so far spread out that to go from one rink to the other is almost like a 6-hour drive to go across state. So, and that might be a little much. I don't even know, but that's what I would have to assume, just based on driving through Florida. We're like, oh, you look on the map, you're like, oh, it doesn't look that far. Then you're like, oh, to get from Jacksonville to, it's like 2.5 hours to get from Jacksonville over to Tampa, and then it's 2 more hours just to go down to Fort Myers. And it's like, holy crap, like that's 4 hours just to get into the state and down halfway through.
Yeah.
And then
it's
another
for a beer league game.
Yeah. And then it's another 2 hours to get from halfway through Florida down to Miami. And it's like, holy crap. So I can only imagine how long the drive is in Texas. But, they just had whatever rink, I think, is that the El Paso rink? I can't remember, that just had that the Chupacabras play out of. And they got that rink just tiled. So that's sweet for them. And there is there's a few rinks that are pretty solid in Texas, but it's just every single one of those scenes I think is still growing because it's once again it's a building community.
Yeah, they just went to Cali too, I think, and then that Freeze construction team that they were Farm Tough.
Yeah,
they just went into Freeze. That's another good team. That's a sneaky one.
We just I ended up playing against one of those guys the other weekend in the Echo tournament and his Echo final tournament. What?
They still are doing those?
Oh yeah. He's all over the place. His Echo finals is usually in April. April? I think it's
stay in the North Carolina. That kind of stays in the North Carolina area, doesn't it?
He's actually expanded.
He's Georgia, they do Georgia too. I remember that.
Yeah, it's Atlanta's his finals, and then he goes up to Virginia because they have Midlothian has a rink that he likes because he gets the guys from Raleigh. Sometimes he's able to get into Raleigh, but the new management at that rink is you only get tournaments in Raleigh on holiday weekends. He goes up into Pennsylvania. Well, he was in Pennsylvania at the Pittsburgh rinks until they shut down. He goes up into Jersey. He goes into New York. He goes up to Texas. I think he goes to Arizona, but I'm not 100% sure.
That's nuts. I didn't even know that. I haven't seen anybody post about that in so long.
His social media game is not very strong.
It's pretty bad, Bob. Figure it out.
I guess that's what explains why I haven't seen it in a while then.
Yeah, his social media game is I'm going to post the winners in the second place.
Well, it's not honestly it's people don't get once you have your own personal Instagram and a side Instagram, cause I do the Bordercats one, people don't understand there's not just unlimited pictures out there, and it's not you even scroll on your own feed. I'll be scrolling on my own feed I haven't been on the Bordercat one in a while. Let me get down there and just everyone's stuff and kind of get it fired up and get it posted. Try to get one a month out of season because you only have so many pictures from the summer,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a job.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
You do that, I'll have to spend a whole hour and a half trying to get on there, and some people I won't respond for a minute, and I feel so bad. It's hey, not intentional, just totally forgot I have this other account on my phone.
And then if you overpost pictures on Instagram, they freeze you. So it's always fun.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Echo's a nice little side tournament that especially for us, keeps our legs moving.
Yeah.
And since we don't really have tile where we're at the moment, we hop in those small tournaments any chance we get. So, and he also goes out to Tennessee, to Nashville.
Well, you can.
So, and then, try and make it out the tours, try and make it to, can't really make it to Narch because that's even further. So Narch is kind of a hike.
So much money too.
But yeah, it's, and then you go to even try and hit Nashville too.
Yeah.
Since they moved it.
Did you guys go last year?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we went to Nashville. We usually try and go to Nashville. We go to Wish Cup because it's a nice little spectacle. And this year we're going because I need to get payback on Nasher. So
And it's in Nashville. I mean, who's going to turn down a trip to Nashville?
Yeah, and it was fun because PJ fell asleep on the bench last year, so that was pretty funny.
Yeah, we had a couple of the Bordercat guys there when they were playing, taking naps, like sitting on the cement in like half a uniform.
Dude, it's hard. If you're not on the rinks there, it's hot as hell.
Oh yeah, that's why like I kind of said like the time they went now is good, but it's still so hot. But like, because I went in October 21 for my birthday, and then ended up going in December with like all the Groove guys from Cali, and we went out there and we're like, oh, like it's gonna be solid, it's gonna be warm, and we get there and it's just ice cold. So I was like, all right, like we would get beers like for after the game, like Jerry Osterkamp would get them. Leave them sitting there in the box, and you get them, they'd almost be like slush, like just ice. Like it was nuts.
Yeah, you're in that part of the states that just there's not much of a fall.
No,
you go right from summer to just winter.
Yeah,
you might get like a week of fall, and then you're like, oh, there goes the leaves, and we're in the winter,
and we're freezing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that first year for Nasty, I think we were talking before the podcast started, and that was when we had tornado warning.
Yeah.
We had they condensed all the schedule. It was, like I said, I had a game at 1:30 in the morning, 28 degrees. The fans above you were still on. It's like, holy crap. And so, but I mean, it was fun, and I'm glad they moved it to, I think it's October now, which is definitely a better time in Nashville.
I think that, or it's like first weekend of October, like last weekend of September, I think.
Now. Yeah. So it's a much better time, and it's safer, especially weather-wise, in Nashville for a tournament. So you got to get out of spring and get out of the wet season, because you just never know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you guys got to try to get out to Legends one time. It's a great tournament, fun, and George is the man too.
Yeah. Like I said, we have George coming on in a few weeks. It might even be sooner than that. I forget the schedule. We have so many people.
He might be the next one.
He might be the next one.
Legends is next weekend here, and then
he's the next one.
Weekend before tour, we're doing a tournament here at our home rink now, Fraser. So there's always stuff
Fraser.
up here. You guys never need to pop out.
Yeah, you're from there, Justin, right?
Oh yeah, I've played plenty at Fraser. Not when it was roller, but
it's getting better, but it's still the same Fraser you would think.
What rink did they flip into roller?
So the one when you walk straight in, and there's that like center kind of desk area. You go to the left. The one like right to the left. It's like, say you're looking at that like the food bar. It's right to the right of that. Like it's tucked in right over there. They redid that, repainted it, redid all the showers. Like it actually looks nice. And now in the summer, just as of last week, we have the main rink as a full roller too.
Ooh, is that where Legends is going to be?
Yeah, so they have that full, like there's that full bar like that goes right across the roof of that, so you look right into the rink, and it's pretty nice now.
Yeah, I love that with the bowl and everything.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, for those pro games when we played, like last time Legends was here, like all those kids, like it was actually kind of packing the bowl. Like they have that Motor City Rockers Fed team there, and sometimes it's usually dressed like a seat night, but there's like now like, when they roller gets there, it's so shocking how many people will just stay around and wait and watch.
I've been trying to get up there to go hang out again and see my family. Maybe I'll just buy a ticket and go after our podcast next Thursday.
Yeah, just make a run. Text George, get in the adult division. There's some spots.
So Alex Arnold's asking if you're going to be playing in Summer Bash June 14th. It's in Fraser, he said.
For me?
Yeah.
I can't do that, unfortunately. Our coach. So last time we had the Summer Bash, we had it was the Bordercats still before they went to tour. It's the weekend before tours. So it happened like Jay Strauss, like top goalie in the pro division forever. And he got injured that weekend, like messed his ankle up, had to grab a goalie last minute. I think one other guy fully like blew out his back, was like barely, we had like 3 guys get injured. So it's like, all right, like our coach kind of let us know, like, hey, let's maybe not do that tournament this year before tours. Like it's kind of like tours or Fraser Bash. Like I'm still gonna probably be there, be around the rink, but it's like we need everybody like 100% healthy for tours, and that's like where That's when it really matters. And it's like that. And like, it's the worst part about Narch too. Like Narch was the weekend before State Wars. Like last year, like there was Pomo, like was like reaching for guys, trying to grab guys, like just because they didn't, like guys were getting injured at Narch the week before. Like that Fraser Bash tournament, for some reason, I don't know why, but there's a lot of like local guys and beer league guys that'll play in that top division, and like it won't be playing for hockey anymore. It'll be playing to like go hurt each other. So it's like I want to go win a pro tournament, not a t-shirt at Fraser, but it's still such a good tournament, and there's a lot of good teams that play. And so I was like, people get out there, but we unfortunately cannot. Coach did not advise that.
There's another question. There's another question that asked if you have a 95 overall toe drag release with Steel Matte Biscuit.
Yeah, I would like to say it. I wouldn't say 95 overall. I'm not Brandon Hawkins out there, but it definitely works. It feels a lot better. I mean, last year, I took a toe drag release from Hawk off the foot, and we were playing snipers. And luckily, I was like, kind of had my adrenaline running. He looked at me. He's like, you all right, man? Like, you good? Because like he's another guy. It's like a good family friend. Like sometimes I'll go out to Toledo, see him play, and I was like, yep. I was like, I'm good. And I totally just like get to the bench. I'm like, I had to stand up the rest of the game or it's just gonna swell up. Yeah. The shot's a lot better with that Steel Matte puck.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised Hawkins is an absolute cannon.
Yeah, I'm surprised Hawkins turned around and said, "Hey, are you right?" Because he told us that it's like
whatever he's nice to his friends.
Yeah, he's a family friend. But
okay.
Trust me,
all right, that's why then.
He was not a fan of Jack O'Hannesson last year. Like he skated by our bench and like pretty much like fully stuck his stick out. And was like, Murray, like I coach John Murray, he's like, get a grip of this kid. He's like, you better tell him stop running his mouth. And I was like, I looked at him like Hawk. I'm like, don't do it, man. I'm like, the kid's half your size. I'm like, just leave him alone. But yeah, if you don't know him and you're not like, he's a guy you want to be friends with and have as like close friend. Because if you don't, like I remember one time at Joe Dumars, there would be teams because we'd get blown out teams and like they were the older team and there was a point where they were trying to play a box on him. And they are like, all right, like go to the top and somebody comes down and plays a box, go rip it right in his chest. And he smoked the kid in his chest. And like, I swear, I think he might have even like broke his sternum. Like the kid got off the rink, like couldn't breathe for a minute, like was spitting out blood. I was like, the kid, they didn't play a box after that. I was like, but it gets to the point where it's like, not a shot you want, I advise to get in front of.
Yeah. Well, I love his honesty. I love his honesty because he'll call you out for some shit. And it's funny because I think I like was like, right. And he was like, I hear you huffing and puffing. I was like, oh shit. Maybe I did that a little too loud. It wasn't anything like, I wasn't like not happy with what he was saying, but I just let out a sigh and he was like, what's the side for? And I was like, oh shit, my bad.
Yeah. He don't take no shit, but he's also the same guy that will give the same shit that he receives is the same shit he gives out. He does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've seen him spin a couple people out. He won't take, like me and him were playing in this, like, it was like a fun, like Sunday family skate with like some family people, and we'd do it like 8 a.m. on Sundays. And we would always like make sure we're on different teams than each other. And we would like go out there and fully like go to war. Like we would be full on hitting each other into the boards, like still having fun, but like that's the only way you get better is like going out there and playing against the top competition like that and going against each other. So he's coming down the rink. I'm right on him. I'm going on the rink. He's right on me. So it was like,
yeah,
we were beating each other up.
Oh, Justin knows what's up. We have our pickups, even like we would do like mixed pickups with like lower division guys, and Justin's like playing against you. I'm like, all right. And we have another buddy, Jason, who's like, I'm playing against you. I'm like, all right, cool. And of course, they're both defensemen, so they play me extra hard. We go into the corners, and next thing you know, I'm like, catch an elbow to the head. Oh, yeah. I'm getting cheese grated into the chain link, and I'm like, what is going on here, guys? I'm like, I understand playing hard, but I'm like, all right, then if you're doing this, then I'm going in hard to the corners. Like, screw you guys.
Yeah, my buddy on Tuesday, like that's like our top division here on Tuesdays, like our platinum division with like a lot of the pro guys and all that. And my buddy plays on the infamous team we played. And every time, like even last season, I always make sure like he comes at me, like I'm whacking him extra hard and making sure. Then like after the game, he comes up to me, he's like, man, I didn't catch any sticks too bad today. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, you caught a couple. He's like, yeah. He's like, but they weren't as bad as usual. I was like, yeah. I was like, you teach me to keep a 6-foot radius from within me. I'm like, keep a 6-foot bubble from me. Stay away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we me and Jason are trying to pull off a pancake on Dan one of these days.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, it's always fun. I like leaving pickup with some bruises, you know.
Oh yeah. Actually, you always got to play hardest against your buddies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, it's like, you know, that's the thing with like a growing league like ours, right? We get more and more guys to go to tournaments, and they're like, holy shit, like the physicality. We're like, yeah. And when you're in league and you're calling for all these penalties, now you understand why. As I'm reffing, I'm not calling that a penalty because that's not a penalty.
Yeah.
Like we went, gosh, Justin, you were there when we went to Nashville last year. It got ugly, and we played solid team, the St. Louis Whalers.
Oh,
and
yeah. I'm not a fan of those guys either.
right, but they're skillful. But then again, you know, they're another like
they give you the every extra whack for no reason. Like we played them in California. I literally looked at this kid. I go, dude, one more time. I'm like, I'm just gonna start breaking your sticks. Like I'm not even gonna do anything. I was like, I'm just gonna whack your stick right in half. Like,
well, and so that's what I feel like from like the Missouri teams. They're skillful, but they also give that extra shit, right? Whether it's a hack, yeah, right. And so we're playing, and it just so happened that it all started. It set the tone, right? I'm back checking, and the guy that's next to me trips me behind the play. And I look at the ref, and he's like, no. And I'm like, how's that not a call? And he's like, ref's discretion. And I'm like, no. There's no ref's discretion for a trip. That set the tone for the rest of the game. We lost. We got smoked because it was ugly, right? But we set the tone of like, you guys are going to hurt the next playoff game. Right. And so at one point, I think it was my brother, like took a hack, right? And no call.
Oh shit.
So my brother two hands this guy's stick over the top. He two hands him so hard, he loses the stick, hits the ground, and pops up over his head. and we're all expecting a call. We're like, all right, where's he getting a call? Nothing. We're like, oh, okay. Like this is why this is gonna turn into a bloodbath right now.
Yeah, that's what I told them when we played them in California. When I played D1 with a bunch of Arizona buddies, how they look at the ref, man. I was like, dude, like, I'm not doing this. I was like, you get control of this game. I was like, I'm not going to sit here and do this today. Like, I was not in the mood. I was like, I'm not sitting here and getting with these kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and
they want to get in your head.
I mean, I just get to the point where I start laughing at him. I'm like, dude, like, you're not in my head. I mean, you're just breaking your own stick. Like, this one kid was whacking me, and I looked at him and I go, dude, I get these sticks for free. I'm like, you pay for them. I'm like, you break mine, I'll just go get another one.
That's a solid chirp.
Well, that's like the Nasher chirp when it's one. Then he's like, guy two hands him. He's like, yeah. He goes, I get this stick for free. He goes, your stick? How much does that cost? $250 or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah, you can start doing the Brad Marchand and just step on the blade, crack it.
He's a crybaby.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, now I am curious, right? Because we're going to talk about Patty Maroon. You know, obviously still in the playoffs right now. But once playoffs are over, whenever that time is, whose roster do you think he hops on? Do you think he goes back to Roadrunners?
I don't know. I think it depends. If Carshield, I don't know. I think he wanted to play on that team because they obviously have a lot of skilled players, but I think he's like the type of guy like he wants to be like a leader. Like they used to have like his original team was like Home Care America. It was like him. I think it was Steve Oleski, Bobby Ryan, like Matt Kleski used to coach that team, like unreal. And like I played against him at tours. Like we played them in round robin, and man, like you go to pick up like that guy's he's crashing that. Like you go to pick up his stick and that thing's not moving.
Yeah.
Like he's not the fastest skater, but when he gets in like the paint there and like the right in between the dots, you're not getting the puck off his stick. Like I think I took a penalty on him just because I came up on his stick and then he kind of went to go through and I turned around and like slashed him and he looked at me, he's like, "You all right, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm good." I'm like, he's a nice guy too.
Yeah.
But I think for State Wars, he's gonna play with depending if that Carshield team is all those young guys that they had at tours, he won't play with Carshield, but I think if anything, he'll play with Carshield at State Wars.
Okay.
Because that's their hometown team. I mean, he did the Carshield commercial, JP Bilstein, all those guys. Like that's like the people he plays with out there. So I think if they get like a solid group of guys that like he all knows, like if Frankie Mountain goes and plays with them, I think he'll play with them. But I think for tours, I think most likely, I mean, why wouldn't you go try to run it back with them?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Which I was shocked. Like even like Carshield, like we like that rink when we played Carshield in the quarterfinals, like we got done with that game. Like, even like the guys on Car Shoe, like, dude, like, we thought we were done. Like, we thought you guys were beating us. Like, everybody in that rink, like, Black Ice is watching. Like, all these teams wanted us to win. Like, we rung one off the corner post in overtime, and Matt Berry just took it all the way down the rink and stuffed it 5-hole.
Yeah.
Like, all right, but I don't know. I'm surprised. Like, I thought it was going to be Black Ice versus Roadrunners for sure in the final. I was surprised that CarShield got through like that, just because they didn't have their full team, but they still were good. But like, they just, I don't know, they weren't the same.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, right, is it was maybe about a month ago, Max Halverson. I'm not sure if it was cryptic or not, but he posted a picture of him, DiMartino, and Maroon in a picture, and said, like, almost roller season, ready to roll or something like that. And I was like, is this saying, like, is this just like, hey, like, is this just a picture from last year, or is this like cryptic of saying like, hey, look who's coming back to play with us?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, for him, I mean, you just won tours last year with them. Why not go do it again? They'll open up a spot for you. And I think they usually have like one or two guys down for tours just because of like work and stuff. That team, they're all getting into full-time jobs now. So,
yeah.
But I think I wouldn't be surprised. I think for tours he'd do that. But I think for State Wars, I think he would for sure. Which, even if he plays State Wars, he didn't play State Wars last year. So I would, if he does play State Wars, I'd say for sure he'd probably play with CarShield if it's like some of his buddies. But if not, he'd probably stay Roadrunners. But he's also one of those guys, like, he's he's not like Tyler Spezia, where he's gonna like come humming past you and go put one in your net. Like, you see Tyler Spezia coming at you, and if you're not crossing over, like, you're getting cooked. Like, you see him, and it's like you gotta at least stay with him and like kind of keep him sanctioned. But you leave Patty open within like about a 10-foot radius of the crease, like, he's gonna clean up whatever rebound sits there.
Well,
like,
and look at all of his goals last year too, right? I mean, he cleaned up everything.
He just whacks him in. So it's like he's like one of those guys where like he's not gonna say easier, but like he's a little bit easier to play defense on because he's not gonna really cook you with his feet. Like, you get in on one-on-one, you gotta just hope that you have your stick right in between his hands and pulling as hard as you can.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned, did you say Bobby Ryan just earlier?
Yeah, earlier he used to be on that home care team.
He's actually playing in the Wish Cup All-Star game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sweet. Good for him.
Yeah, Colby told us that, but yeah, we talked about it with Colby, and apparently he asked him to play in it, and he was like, yeah, I'm actually better at roller than I am at ice. So
yeah, it's what he grew up playing. I mean, like, it's crazy too with that Wish Cup. Like, a lot of those kids like will come out, and like there's so many kids that are coming for like Nasher and Pavel Barber. Like, they don't, like, we were at State Wars. I think it was State Wars last year, and like Nasher came, and all these kids are like yelling, like, "Do you see Nasher?" And like he was just like walking past NHL players, like, don't even like not even worry about him. Like, they're just like another guy on the wall. Like, it's crazy how these kids like don't even know who's actually out there playing. Like, AHL guys, NHL guys. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's why, like I said, I mentioned a couple of times. I tried making a false report that what's his name was going to be playing
Bedard.
in Bedard. But then the Canadian roller hockey group messaged and was like, "Nope, he ain't playing." And I was like, "Damn it!"
No, I'd be surprised if he even plays out there this year. And when you get an NHL contract, man, you're that type of player. It's not that easy to just go play in. You go play in a roller tournament. There's going to be the guys that are like, all right, they respect you, know you're good. But there's also going to be the guys that are going to try to take your head off.
Yeah,
because they can't stop you. So that's why, like, that league, like my buddy Matt Garb, he's the guy from Vancouver out there that plays in that league with all of them, and he said, like, dude, it's nuts. But the guys that are on Team Canada, I think it was last year, like Lane Hartwell and all them, they're like telling me, dude, like, Bedard might be coming. I'm like, dude, like, he's not coming to play with you guys, and like wherever you're going. I'm like whatever. I'm sure like he would love to, he'd want to, but in all reality, that guy's making millions of dollars now. Like, he can't just go play a roller tournament for fun and risk breaking an ankle.
I think he's got to get out of his rookie contract first before he's able to do that.
Yeah, well, that's like, I don't know, it's so hard. Like DeBrincat, he was playing roller up until he signed his pro deal. Like,
yeah,
there's so many stipulations. Like, it's like football almost, where like you guys, like, you can't go skiing, you can't go, like, it's like Patrick Mahomes. I think there's stuff in his thing where it's like you can't go skiing, you can't go like water skiing, play basketball. Like, there's so many things that these guys can't do just because it's like you're not. I mean, you're a player, but you're also like you become a piece of the company. Like, you are essential. The
Yes, you're a
Blackhawks without
commodity.
Bedard are who their viewership probably went down at least 50% when he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Their wins went down too.
Well, that's what I mean. The kid's an animal.
Yeah. Well, it's just like roller hockey, and that's the thing is Justin and I talk about this a lot, and it's like if these guys like DeBrincat and Bedard, right, and all these other younger guys that are making their way into the NHL, if they were to then in the summer play roller, the popularity of roller would skyrocket.
Yeah, it would just because but it's actually shocking. Like the only people even in Tampa, like there was some people that stayed to watch like Patty, but like when the State Wars was in St. Louis last, like after I think he was coming off his like second or third cup, and he came and played with Marsblade. That rink was like first time every game Marsblade played, you knew they were playing because the whole rink was packed out.
Yeah,
waiting, and he'd always stay around, sign everything for the kids. But it's like I don't know, those guys. Like I played against the rink at like all growing up, and like you got to like he's one of those guys like when he gets to that, like he's like I'm not gonna go in there and go risk. Like it would be cool if they did. Like yeah, it'd be awesome. But like you also like I think about some of these pro teams I play and some of these games I played where like you get a couple of guys on the team that are just out there to hurt somebody or take them out. So it's like you get to the point where it's like I see like even like Cal, like he's like one of the top players in pro, like going to Providence, going to college, now signing on the coast. Like he's still got a little bit of risk out there going out there. Like, he loves it. He's going to do it, but like it's still a risk, because that's when you're that good of a player, you're the number one target. You go through the middle, you're getting hacked and whacked in every part of your body. Like he would get done with the weekend at tours. We had 10 guys last year at tours, and this kid looked like he went to war. He looked like he walked in the room and got beat with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I feel like that's every tournament though, right? It's like you go to a tournament and everyone's playing hard, and roller hockey is just a little loose with their hacks. And if you don't come home with a bruise from a roller tournament, were you really there?
You weren't trying.
Yeah,
you come home with multiple, no matter what. Like I left tours and I was literally just like sitting on the airplane, like stiff as a board, like so uncomfortable. I'm like, I can't move. Like nobody like try to get over me. I was like, I'm gonna sit in the aisle and I'm not moving.
Yeah, I played with the tidal wave team at tours in the over 30 in the tier 1, and we go through round robin, and first game round robin is of just both divisions that I played in was over 30, and I'm just standing in front of the net, and here comes a stick through, like my hands are on my stick, right, and they're down, and here comes a stick, just slides right in across my chest, and there's a blade mark from armpit to armpit, and I'm like, what the hell? And next you know that, and then the guy's like, hey man, give my stick back, and I'm like, why is your stick in my chest? And then of course he rips it out, and I'm like, oh my god! And then I just had a mark across my chest. First game of the tournament.
Yeah, that's a good old can opener right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, chill out. And he's like, get off my stick. I'm like, I'm not. Look, my hands are on my stick. Like, chill out. So
yeah, it's different too when you get back to like your home leagues from a tournament weekend. Like that's why like I would go play like a tournament in Cali like for pro, and then come in and like to a college weekend and like accidentally like lead the whole team in penalties because I'm accidentally like smoking kids off the puck and like feel terrible. But I'm like so used to just going hard and everybody's good skaters. Yeah. Like some of them, my coach would look at me and be like, like you're all right. But some of them like, dude, like totally forgot that we were playing college roller and had to tone it down a little bit. I was like, that's my fault.
Yeah. And that happens. And that's why, you play in your men's league there, right? And then someone like hacks you and you don't fall and you don't get the call, but then like if it happens to someone else and they fall, they get the call. And it's a tough situation to be in, to be a stronger skater, because you're more than likely going to take the more beating, or you're not going to get the calls you want. And it's like, sorry, I can't fall.
That is always how it goes.
Now, I kind of want to get your prediction, because we did talk about the qualifier, the PAMA Pro qualifier play-in. Out of Wheelers, Blood and Feathers, The Blast, Chemistry, Sweden, Skits, Black Ice, Propel, which two are you predicting to move on? And I know we're early, right? So we haven't seen it.
A tough spot. I know a lot of people on these teams.
We haven't seen a lot. None of these teams have played. Tours is coming up, right? So they've all been playing their qualifiers for Narch and potentially tours and or Winter Wars on either of the three, right? So, and we already know those teams aren't complete, so we haven't seen most of these teams play with a full roster. But
I know the full rosters for a lot of them, but I mean, looking at it, like I'm looking at it right now on my phone. I don't know. I think probably the best chance to get out of it if they come with their full team and put together a full weekend of roller and actually want to be there. I'd say Skittles, just because I know the guys on the team and I know what they're capable of if they work for their full potential. Like last year, I think they still got a chip on their shoulder. Like last year, they had a terrible schedule. Like they had us, like their winnable game was us, and then we beat them. And it was like they have, I think they had Snipers, Mars Blade, somebody else that was really good too, and they went 0-4. So I think they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder, and they're making that trip, and they want to be in.
Yeah, and I like watching them too. I mean, I hope they make it out because they are a fun team to watch, especially how young they are, and they remind me of the Roadrunners with this group they have now when they were a few years back when they were just getting smoked, right? But they put in the work and they kept the same group, and they eventually they got the win, and then they won their first national tournament, and now they're just a staple of roller hockey, right? Whereas I think you'll think of pro division, you think like, yeah, Skittles can hang. It's not like they've won games in round robin, they've made it to the playoffs, they've put up some tough battles, and it's just an unfortunate position to be in that they're in the play-in stage.
They just struggle. Like I think the biggest thing for them is coming. Like the hardest thing for a lot of these teams from the West Coast is that transition to the West Coast run and gun, go up the rink, play on a smaller rink to get into East Coast. And realize we're on a bigger rink, you're going to spread it out, and you're going to get hit a lot harder, and you're going to get whacked a lot harder. But I think, honestly, Skittles should for sure get in. The Black Ice team's young, but Jay's coaching them. They're going to be good at roller. They're going to still have a flying chance. The Propel team was pretty solid, too. I just haven't seen them really in pro.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is I feel like their team's not consistent either.
No, that's the only way you get a good pro team going is when you get a consistent core team. We have like a good core, of like 8 guys now that we know for sure can play and go and be there. But it's like Blood and Feathers. I don't know. I hate to say it, but I think they're gonna try their hardest, but I think they're just gonna struggle again. I mean, it's so tough for them, just because they get a lot of guys that are fresh from ice. Like they're like the guys that are like playing good at ice, and then they come into roller and you can tell they don't know like the full roller game and like can't skate the full roller game. Champion Wheelers, I think, are going to be a sneaky one, but they're another one I'm interested to see if they're going to be able to make that transition from West Coast to East Coast. Because I watched a lot of their games on the West Coast, and they're super run and gun. Like, and they'll send too hard. They don't in pro. You got to send 3 to get really anything accomplished and be able to get back. And they just send too hard for a lot of one-on-ones. So I don't know how that'll work for them. Car Shield, their home rink, they know how to play a good roller, the same roller forever. They're going to stretch you out. They're going to get the one-on-ones and beat you. And I think if Car Shield, depending on that team they bring, which I think they're going to probably grab a couple of guys from Mars Blade, probably like Kyle Novak and stuff, guys that are good. I think it's probably, I'd say the best option is probably Car Shield and Champion and Skittles. I think Skittles for sure should be able to do it. But I think Chemistry, I mean, they came out for tours in March, and they're super young. They're like 16, 18. So they're still getting there, but it's a good team to have in there. They know how to play roller. I mean, I think VO is coaching them, and VO always knows what he's doing. He can not have the best team, and he can make them something just because he knows the game so well. Sweden, I'm hoping Sweden at least makes a good run for it, because it was so like these guys would get off the rink last year at State Wars like so defeated. Like you would just feel bad for them. Like,
they got smoked last year.
Yeah, and like you would just see like at first it'd be close, and then it'd hit mid game, and it was just started and turning like 8-0, 9-1, 10-2. Like they have skill. They just gotta get the conditioning to play on a full big rink and learn how to play that style of game.
Yeah.
But I think those are my predictions. I'd probably say Skittles is the one, and then I'd say that second spot's going to be between Car Shield and Champion.
Is that a second Car Shield team, or is that the main Car Shield team?
That's the main one, because Mars Blade was a lot of the Car Shield guys. That was pretty much like they were Car Shield, or they were Alkali RPD, which was a sick team, and then they went to Mars Blade. But I think since Mars Blade is done, I'm sure they'll pick up a couple of them, and then probably go from there.
I'm feeling Skittles and Champion, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think Champion, when they just played Skittles, like that's the thing though, they just played Skittles out there when Skittles doesn't have their full team. And like 2 of their top goal scorers is Dylan Abamont and Patrick Bolgan, and neither of them were there. And that was like a close game. But like Skittles got back Jaden Guzman again, and I think he took the year off last year, and I think a lot of people forgot about how good he is and how hard he can play and how smart he is at the game. And I don't know, they're not going to tours because they're doing like a little like whole team practice week. So
are you sure that's not a second Car Shield team?
Yeah, because they didn't make playoffs, or they weren't in playoffs.
They were 4-0 last year.
And pro at State Wars?
Yeah, they were 4-0. Pama Car Shield Snipers are 4-0.
Did I miss something? Let me see.
This might be their second team because they're the Car Shield Blast. The other team's just Car Shield.
Was that the year? Was that sure that was last State Wars or the year before?
No, it's 2023 last year.
Oh,
because we got
Adam, the email from
they got Adam Ernie, Matt Berry, right?
Oh, that Car Shield team. Yeah. So that is, I forgot about them. That is a second car. That Car Shield team isn't really Car Shield originally is all Missouri teams. So that Car Shield team that's going to be in there is going to be Missouri guys. But
okay,
that one I totally forgot that Car Shield team won it actually. But yeah, that's all like George Brown guys from East Coast, Michigan. Like I forgot about them actually.
Yeah. I mean that little Beta North Park team last year was definitely a surprising.
Yeah, they snuck us for one. That's for sure. They beat us in the quarters.
Because that's
they played like that's the thing though. Like with them, like I love Chucky, but that quarterfinal game they came out and played a box in a State Wars quarterfinal. Like you can't like. I told Chucky, I went to Chucky after the game, like, dude, like, your team has no confidence in you. I'm like, they must not think you're good. And like, I still see him. Like, I see him on Tuesdays, and I still like chirp him about it. I'm like, dude, like, your team played a box in front of you in a playoff game. Like, you're as a player, like, you don't want to even like. We just started shooting at their chests, and then like, I think they got like one or two. Like one of them, one of the Bennett brothers came out of the box and like snuck out and got one. But like, it was just like so shitty to see. Like, especially like as a fan, like you don't want to sit and watch a box. Like it's terrible to play against, especially if you're playing a box in a State Wars quarterfinal, you probably shouldn't be
there. Oh man, it's too funny.
It's almost like a troll.
Yeah, exactly. Like we literally like we see it and we go like we all look at each other like you're kidding. Like this is not happening. Like you shouldn't make the playoffs if that's how it's gonna be.
That's when you just go and take it behind your net and stand there until they give up.
Well, they just would clog the middle and they would just sit. And at State Wars, they enforce the time rule behind your net.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can't sit there anymore like that. That's a sniper's rule right there because they used to just step on
it. Yeah, you know. But I mean that's because that North Park team is what, like a break off of the Roadrunners, right?
No, that's chemistry.
Is it chemistry? Then I thought at least one of the Bennetts or both of them.
Oh yeah, they were for like a year, but I don't think he really fit in with all of them. And he's so good. He's got so many guys. They might as well just make your own team.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely it's going to be an interesting year for pro. You know, it's see who shows up to what tournaments because not like I said, it's crazy because you know everyone has said like Tours is kind of like a tune-up for Narch, and Narch is a tune-up for State Wars, which is unfortunate to look at, but it is what it is because State Wars is at the end of the summer.
It's the most fun.
Yeah, and it's also got the highest prize, and you know it. What can I say? I mean, it is definitely. You look at it now, you get 12 pro teams last year. It's nice that we're going back down to 10. I think 10's probably. I think 12 is maybe too many, in my opinion.
For State Wars.
So, but I mean, it's nice to see because it's nice to see other people get shots. But I think the play-in system is definitely a much better system for.
It solves a lot of like blow-off games. Like that's a good thing that they put Sweden in that because not that it was a blow-off game, but like they don't need to go play Car Shield. Like Car Shield has been out there and smack them. That's a good tournament for them because then if they don't make the actual one, they can drop in and play that. But like we kind of got lucky because I mean last year a lot of the guys like knew us from like because we last tournament we played before going pro, we played juniors in D1 at Tours and we just beat everyone to a pulp. Like George Brown coached us in D1 and we just pretty much killed everyone, and then got to the point like, all right, we're done wasting our time staying extra during the week with that because we all got jobs. And now they kind of know us and kind of seen what we've done and kind of on the map now. So it's not like we're coming in undercover, like, who are these guys? So kind of like it's going to be a good shakeup this summer. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, when you have 12 teams and you have teams minus 20, it's not a good look, right? So
and nobody stays and watch those games either.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
you want the kids, like, the whole point is the kids going, like, we'd get done with games and kids would be asking for pins, like sign stuff. Like, the kids are the ones that love it the most. Like, they come out there and like they look up to pro roller hockey players like they're actually some real people in the world, like they get pumped. Like, the one kid, my one buddy on our team, he asked this kid asked to sign his stick, and he looked at me, the kid, he's like, I'm not gonna ruin your stick. Like, totally like
Oh, that's too funny.
That's funny because that's like a big difference between different players. Like, there's some guys who, if they got the opportunity to do that, they'd be on it immediately.
And they'd be like pumped for themselves more than the kid.
Yep.
But he's literally looked at his kid. He's like, I'm not gonna ruin your stick, and we all just started dying laughing.
Well, it's like Eton. Eton was like, I would rather have less teams so that you don't get a quote unquote. He didn't say this, but like, to me, I'm just paraphrasing. But you don't get like a game off, right? You don't have to let up, right? You don't mercy a team. Exactly. He wants a competitive game every time he steps out there.
That's why it's worth your money. I mean, that's how I said for them at Taurus. Like, they had a cakewalk, and like you could totally tell it. They were just showing up to the game and just smacking them off the rink and carrying on. That's like one, like, I think this year for Rage Cats we're gonna do try to get some pins for the kids at State Wars, because like shockingly, like, so many kids came up asking us for like pins and stuff because like that's what they want. That's what they go there to collect. So it's like, and no pro teams carrying around pins. So I was like, you know what, like, we'll text the pin lady and we'll get a couple get like 3 a guy or something, and then just toss them out to them.
And I think, and I want to, Andrew, I want your opinion on this. Do you think the pro teams can do a little more for the sport of roller and for kind of like marketing and whatnot for the, just to grow the sport?
100%. I mean, you see what Palma's doing. I mean, they have all these Palma Golden Knights Academy. Like, they have teams like Dave Hammond, a guy from Canada. I think he's living in South Africa, running Palma stuff there. Pablo Navarro's doing stuff, I think, I don't know where he's at. I think he's maybe in Spain or something, but like, Palma's the one that's really put him out there. Like, in Arch, they had a bunch of like Palma United, like UK teams and stuff, like from kids from all over. So it's like they brought a lot of teams, are doing a lot, but it's also so hard to do because it's like all these guys, like, all of them play ice during the year. Like, like all of them are like Tim. He's running tournaments. Like, Snipers is a team that could do it just because the funding they have and the stuff they have, but a lot of it's funding, I mean, we go to a tournament, the only thing you got to pay for is a flight, but it's like, also, like, you got to think, like, doing, like, a lot of these guys are like, our team, I'm the only one that lives here like full time during the year. Like, Cal's gone playing pro. All the guys are in Canada. Some guys are in Missouri. Some guys, it's like, it's hard. Like, all these teams, that's another problem. Like, that's the best thing that Palma can do it because they're all in California together. But like, other teams are so like spread out. Like, you can't just be like, hey guys, go grab a $500 flight so we can run a youth camp for a weekend. Like, like, it's tough for guys to do. Like, that's like the hardest part.
Yeah.
I mean, something is, for me, it's like, when you look at it and you guys are like, oh, kids are asking for pins, right? And I think catering to the kids is smart.
It's the first thing you should do.
Yeah.
That's how you grow the game.
And I think if it's something as simple as a pin is like, oh yeah, I got a Rage Cats pin, sweet, right? Or
next year,
yeah, and it just makes them want to play and makes them continue to play and continue to go back to these tournaments where they're okay. They may not be playing on the best team, but they're also there watching the programs. And then, hey, oh man, I just got a pin, like, sweet, I want to come back next year and get another one.
Well, that's how you get like a fan for life. That's like that's how, like, with the Bordercats, like, before, like, before we switched into the Rage Cats, like, those guys, like, I see them at the rink every Tuesday. Like, some of like my best family friends, like, those are like the guys I looked up to since I was 8-10 years old, because I'd go see them at tournaments. I'm like, I'd be like I never played ice hockey, so it was never like, oh, like, I knew I wasn't going to the NHL. Like, that was not a factor. Like, I was like, all right, like, my goal is I want to go play pro roller and I want to be like these guys. Like, Ryan Kish is one of those guys I look up to, like, massively. Like, he's been on the playing pro forever, and he plays the right game. He'll go out there and silently beat you. But it's like that's how you say I give a kid a pin, he's gonna go out there, look for me, like, yo, like, hey, like tell his ways, like, hey, like that's the guy that gave me a pin, that's how you get not fans that you need him in pro roller like that, but that's how you build relationships with these kids. Like Hawk's another one. Like Hawk will sit around and walk around that rink all day and talk to kids and stuff and talk to families just because that's guy he's a nice guy and he wants to grow the game.
Yeah.
But that's a tough thing too, is a lot of the way these schedules are built, you get done with a game, you have to go get food, maybe have an hour to get food, rest for maybe 30 minutes, and you got to get right back to the rink. So it's tough because it's you kind of want to stay at the rink, but you need to get out of the rink so you're not sitting there like a zombie all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I look at it and I'm like, I understand doing your own thing, but I just feel as if we can, as a sport and as big as the pro scene is to an extent, that I'm not asking for teams to go out there and run camps or whatever, because I understand people have jobs and stuff like that. But I think when we're at the events that they can do a little more, whether it's first step, like you're saying, is team pins, right? Is doing giving to the kids and stuff like that. And I understand, guys stay back and, talk with kids, and that's great. And I think that's a basic step, but I think to try and get more people involved, I think is a good way to go to start.
Oh yeah.
And
these guys are doing it. I mean, they have the whole youth squads coming up, right?
Yeah. That's how we keep in it. I mean, we keep all of our youth teams, and then I usually grab me to coach and maybe another guy from the pro team. And those kids have that respect for you because they know the level you're playing. So that's how we kind of honestly, that's how we kept getting kids to come play for us before too. Lucas Deeb, Jack O'Hannison, those guys were young Bordercats too. And then they've always kind of been on the radar, hey, this kid, last year, he kind of hit the point. I'm all right, this kid can do it. So I'm come give him, come get your shot. And they both took off. So it's that's kind of that's the thing with a lot of the pro teams. They don't have youth programs. That's how Snipers, Snipers is building up. Black Ice is building up. Palma building up. A lot like Car Shield, they don't have a youth. They have their youth from St. Louis, but that's going to go to the St. Louis Car Shield team, not the main one.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of them don't take care of the youth and don't do the coaching to stay there, because it's that's what you should do, because that's how I said, that's how you're going to grow the game. But it's also some of those guys, I don't know, you see some of those guys you play against, and they're cool guys, but you can tell some of them, they don't care about the kids. They're there to go play the tournament themselves and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate too, because it's for me, when I look at it and I'm damn, I wish I could play pro, but I know myself, and I spent most of my time playing high level ice, and I look at what these young kids that are playing pro today, and, and I'll go and play against, it's when I went to USRC and played in the pro division, I knew what I was going up against that champion team, but I was there's not many times I'm going to be playing against these guys.
But you get yourself out there.
Yeah. Right. And so I knew at least one time I was going to get walked because my ankles don't bend like most of these younger guys. I'm I watch these younger kids that are 18 and their ankles are going one way and their body's going the other. And I'm that looks like a weekend on the couch for me, or a week on the couch for me, icing my ankles. Right. So, and just knowing myself, and it's if I was in roller my entire life, maybe, right? I mean, the knowledge of the game I have, but having my body do the things that some of these guys are able to do, I'm I haven't put my body through that my entire life. But I'm looking at it, right, and I'm going, okay, we want to be called pro, a pro division. Well, to me, there should be some expectations of presenting yourself like a pro, right? And giving back to the younger, and just even if it's just simple as having a conversation with kids and stuff like that. And but like you said, some guys just go there to play and then they're peace out. And for me, I would love to be in that position to be a young kid asked me, hey man, you play pro? I'm yeah, I play pro, right? And it's what can I do to get you? I would love to have that conversation. And
I think for a lot of guys, go ahead.
It changes those kids' lives. I mean, that's what I would do. That's that's why we all wear the same team matching shirts and all that, because then they know we're on this team. We would have groups of kids when we're sitting in Fort Wayne coming up to us hey, oh my God, you guys playing the Rage Cats? We saw you earlier. And we were hanging out with these kids from Ontario, and I think they were like 10 years old, and they were just like hilarious. Like just just hang, like we're like, can we sit down? Like, yeah, like hang out with us for a bit. Like just like trying to reach out. Like that's what we all try to do because we're all young. We're all 20, 25, like we all know how it was at that age. So it's like help them while you can.
I think for a lot of guys, it's kind of where roller doesn't have the prestige that it really deserves, and they don't feel the confidence in themselves to present themselves as like this high level athlete, despite the fact that they are. And that's kind of where the bigger clubs and then the big tournaments need to step in and really highlight these people and push it and try to push it more mainstream. Because, if these games were showing up with highlights on ESPN and stuff, then a guy would have no problem going and bragging to a kid.
Yeah.
But because he's not on ESPN, because he's not held at that same level, he might feel kind of weird, like your buddy being like, I don't want to sign that stick. But realistically, like
that's how it is though, because a lot of the hardest part too is because all these guys, like they all have played junior ice hockey, high level ice hockey, AHL, pro. So like they come play a roller tournament, and it's like they don't look at it like that. Like they don't look at it as like, that's why Hawk grew up in the same position as me. Like it was all roller. Cal, like same thing, all roller. Like since you were a kid, like ice was like a lot. Like I don't think Cal started playing ice till like 10. I don't think Hawk started till later, or Tyler Speech didn't start till later either. Because there's like all roller. So they are the ones that are actually going to stay around and hang out and talk. Like the other guys that like you get AHL guys and other like some coast guys, some NHL guys, they're like, like it's like a weekend with the boys drinking beers for them. Like it's not like they don't consider it to the standard of like this is a pro game. Like we're in pro, like these kids look up to us. Like they get done, like they go throw a fit in the locker room as a grown man.
Well, that's the thing is that's what I was gonna say too. Is I'm like the beers will come, like you can just put some time in, right? Yeah, and then like play your games, work your ass off, right? Talk to the kids after the game, then go have a beer. Like, there's no pro game at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, you go hang out at State, or if you guys go to State Wars this year or tours, you go hang out for a weekend and you see who's who. You can tell.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm glad that going to tours this year, right? And I am personally happy that their divisions have been kind of swapped to coincide with the pro, like over 30 and stuff like that. But it kind of upsets me because the youth division has been moved out of the pro to the following weekend.
It's pointless.
Yeah, and so I'm like,
it should be. And
like selfishly, I'm like, sweet, I get the for the first time I get to go watch some pro games at tours, but but overall I'm like, it shouldn't be like that.
No.
So
you have to get the kids with the pros.
It's the only way it should be. That's why I said State Wars is always going to be the pinnacle of it all.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, people got to just get on that wave, and they got to know that the kids are the future. And if you want them to grow up and want to be pros, you're going to have to let them watch the pros.
I think part of the reason Tours does it like that, though, is because they do the skills competition for the kids, and they do like a 3-on-3 tournament. So like there would be times where they would have like 150 kids sign up for an hour slotted skills competition or 3-on-3, and then the whole rink's behind. So then it was like, I think that's why they moved it all to that, because they're kind of like, all right, like the kids, it's a lot of the pro guys would be complaining, playing a late game. Like a couple of games at Tours last year, we got switched to another rink just so we could get done earlier. But it was like we were still starting the game at 11:30, but that was like the one main rink would get like 2 hours behind, 2.5 hours behind, because they had 4 skills competition and 4 3-on-3s, So it's like partially planning on them, but it's like at least you should know those are the kids that want to see it. The 30 plus guys, they don't really care. They go and play their 30 plus game, like 45 plus game, and leave. Like that's not.
I mean,
like we used to do that. See you later.
I mean the was it the Car Shield? The Car Shield over 30 team is just their pro team anyway. So
yeah, it's like Corey Hodge.
Yeah,
right? He's on that team. I play against him every Tuesday. Who else is on it? I think Shorts played with them. You can only have 2 pro guys, I thought, though, in that division per team.
this year.
Oh, this year they're
I think
enforcing it?
this year, I think so, because it's on the pro weekend. But like previously,
Probably a bad idea.
when it wasn't the pro weekend, you could have whoever.
Yeah.
Because it was a whole week later. So most of those pro guys aren't going to stay in Florida for a whole entire week. So, you go up against that Car Shield team, and you're like, okay, let's get to the finals.
We already done yet?
So that's like last year, went up against the Gremlins, and our team should have won, but it's another I think they're another Missouri team as well, and it's like you know what you're getting into. I mean, one of our guys ran into the board. Actually, it was Trefty. Trefty gets run into the boards, gets concussed, knocked out of the game. It's like, okay, we set the tone
Last guy
already.
you think will get ran from behind too. Like he's a good guy.
Yeah. So, when you go up against those Missouri teams, you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah, watch your back and watch your stick.
Well, it's like growing up in New Jersey, you play a New York team. The New York guys like to use their sticks a little more, so you're going to get hacked in the hands. So it's just kind of the New York special. So, they don't want New Jersey pizza to be better than New York pizza, so they think everyone makes pizza, so they just hack you in the hands.
That's funny.
But yeah,
well, man, to kind of put a topper on this, what do you think roller needs to do to grow and kind of just elevate itself?
I don't know. I think it's so. I've only played roller hockey since I was 8 years old, and I'm 23, going on 24 now, and I've seen it all. I mean, it's just so hard to say because I mean, the main thing, like any league, like you'd see now the women's league, the pro women's hockey league, it's all just money, and that's like these people like they'll put these Bowers like at State Wars, they'll put Bauer and Mission out there. Bauer and Michigan isn't doing anything for the game anymore. Like they don't like they used to do like when Tommy Neer and Sean Riley were there, like. That's the only person we got uniforms, only person we got gloves with. Like they don't do State Wars. I think last year they got Snipers guys T-shirts for each day, the Bauer T-shirt. That's what you got. But it's like they don't. I don't know. Don't give them that advertising unless you're getting that money. That's why I think part of it is like which is I get it for some of the roller brands because they're not making Mission Bauer money. But if you're putting that banner up, that should come with at least a little fee on there and get some more money into it. And that's the hardest thing is the money. I mean, that's like anything in this world. It's all revolves around money. And if we could get more sponsors and more people into it, and like, obviously we're not going to, I mean, it'd be cool, but we're not going to sit here and get an ESPN sponsorship. Like we're not going to be on ESPN1, like it's not, you see but like somehow someday there's professional cornhole on ESPN.
Well, that's
what I mean. So it's like, you don't get that, but yeah. I think a lot of it is like we're bringing in the numbers now. Roller, I mean, you talk to Tim, the roller numbers are increasing as the year goes on because now the ice coaches, like I used to play against like Max Jones. He plays on the Ducks. Like we used to play against him and his dad was like, no roller. Like his dad would be pissed when he'd play roller. So now it's like now the coaches are actually figuring it out because these other guys are playing roller. So it's like, hey, like you can only get better. Like now that Connor Bedard's in it, I think that's just going to blow it up more too because he's such an advocate for it. It's those guys at those levels that need to be the advocate for it to kind of get the eyes on it. That's how you're going to get more people into it. Like, yeah, us like guys that have always been playing pro and played only roller our whole life, like we can only do so much. Like I can't go put a post on my Instagram and say, hey, I'm going to be at State Wars. Everybody show up. Like who am I to go do that? Like, even like a top guy, like you go say Travis. No, I mean, he makes a post like that. Sure, I'll get a couple people there from Cali, but who in like the NHL, AHL world, like hockey fans know of Travis Noah was like a top guy in roller, So it's like, I think that's part of the thing is just getting it out there. But you guys have been promoting it good. Roller Dad News is, I can tell you that for free, has helped the game a lot.
Yeah.
Like you guys making those posts and keeping that going is like a main thing to get the world out there because not like Torres. I mean, go look at the last time Torres made an Instagram post. Like you probably couldn't even find it. Like it's like those tournaments are the ones that need to be promoting it harder to get everybody out there. State Wars does such a good job because they're so consistent and keep it so consistent and keep it adamant. It's like Lebeda too. I mean, they do post very good. Konixx posting all the time. Like all these top brands keep it up. Like you see who's not posting and you see where their brand's going.
Mm-hmm.
That's like you guys doing this podcast and then Roller Dad News doing just the posting. Like that's who kind of started the posting. Like that is so huge for the game.
Yeah.
Like that keeps it in so many people's minds instead of like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go play this roller tournament next week. I totally forgot State Wars is next weekend, like something like that. Like, it keeps the game updated, it keeps it out there, and that's like just needs a promotion from everybody. And it's because at first it had that stigma, like, oh, like it's not ice hockey. Like we're growing up, it's like it's not ice hockey. Like you play roller hockey, like, oh, like you're a bum. And now it's kind of getting to the point where it's, oh, like you play roller hockey, like where can I play? Like I'm trying to play. Like I'm like, okay, like I see a lot of my buddies that like play D1 and play in like the coast and stuff. They're like, all right, like when can we play this summer? Like just wait and play. But, like a lot of them get limited. Like that's another thing with those pro guys playing because they're agents. It's such a risk. So it's like that's what they get a little. So you got to be a little selfish and go. But I think it just needs more funding and like more sponsors, which is like hard to get. But it's like one of those things you got to get a sponsor there and have them like big name sponsors get there and actually see what's going on.
And that's the thing too, right? Is like, and we've heard it from a lot of sponsors that sponsor the tournament, but there's those tables, unless it's apparel, like the gear is not going to sell to much, right? Because
it's hard.
It's hard because most guys go in a tournament already are geared up, right? And I think that's where the videography has to come in, right? Is the live stream has to be perfect, right? You look at the women's pro now, their live stream on YouTube, phenomenal. Yeah.
You've just seen their game on ESPN the other day. Like,
yeah. And so like, I think if the big three came together, which they only come together for scheduling from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, right, is you come together and you unify under some sort of videography for your three major tournaments, and you make a spectacle out of it, and you get a good broadcast. Who knows? Because then you start getting the sponsors rolling in, and you get the ads rolling in too, right, in between periods and stuff like that. Yeah, and then who knows? Maybe you get on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm so glad that they're starting to move away from like, just log into Live Barn and watch games. Like Live Barn's great, but Live Barn's
terrible. I can't stand it. I don't even buy an account.
Yeah, Live Barn's good for like smaller tournaments or for like going back and watching a highlight of yourself if you have an account. Which still the angle is usually not perfect, and most people go to Live Barn just to like go clip a fight or something stupid that happened in a men's league. But for to promote your tournament, to pull clips off Live Barn, not good for the brand.
No, that's why Darren with Narch, he gets like Rain Hernandez. He's from Mississauga out there, and he does great with the clips. Like he's doing stuff for the OHL like full time right now, and he does great. And he comes out there, spends the whole week in Narch out there. Tim usually gets some good pictures out there. He doesn't get much video, but gets good pictures. Tours, they've kind of just fallen off with the pictures and the videos. But it's like the hardest thing is, like you said, like trying to bring them all, the big three together. Like you got to think of like a business like aspect. It's like, are you going to ever bring like Apple and Samsung and HP together as one? Like you can't.
Yeah.
They're not like but that's how it looked at, because like that's how like a lot of those guys don't have like side jobs. Like Sam, that's his life. Like he makes good money off doing that, takes pride in it. You can tell how much pride he takes in it from how the tournaments are. It's like Darren, that's all, like that's his job. That's what he does. That's how he makes money. But it's like, that's why it'd be so hard to come through on like as one, because then you're profit sharing. And it's like, you're used to making all this money from these tournaments. And it's like how you change your life of living then,
Yeah, I understand that aspect of it.
Well, they just finally got to it in the last couple of years of stop crossing their tournaments over.
Yeah.
There was a minute where you had to go right from Tours directly to Narch. Like you would play, if you played another division, you had to literally leave from Tampa, go out like California or go out east when they were doing Narch East. Like they were crossing over. Now it's pretty clear cut, but it's still a little bit across. But this is the hardest thing to do because there's 3 months in the summer,
Yeah.
Ice hockey playoffs. I mean, it's May? Was it May 16th? I mean, the AHL is still playing semis. The Coast is just, I don't even know if they're in finals yet. Stanley Cup's still going on. Like, that's why they don't do it till end of June, July, because those guys get free.
Yeah.
We're talking about bringing in sponsors to help grow it. 3 sponsors. Who would be 3 big sponsors to bring in to like big names that would grow the game?
Obviously, you think so. Mission used to be so huge. Like I didn't pay for skates for a long time growing up, and then they stopped and they were gone. Like Mission, when they were in the game, was huge because they're posting on their Instagram. It was allocated with Bauer. Like they have the same platform. They were massive. Bauer was in it for a little bit, but I mean, if like you think about the power that Bauer has, like they outfitted that whole pro women's league. Like they have power that they have and the push they have with all these people. And like it's cool Nasher gets his free stuff, but they're giving free stuff to all these social media influencers guys where it's like, go give it to somebody that's actually out there playing in the pro division, actually trying to go hard. Like when they did that and had that going, that's what was kind of pushing the game and using their platform. Like you got to think like it would be cool to bring in like a fresh sponsor, like True or something, but it's so hard because you want to go like CCM, Bauer, Mission because they already have the platform built.
Yeah.
Like the hardest, so you could go with somebody on a new platform and be like, hey, like, let's help out this new brand. Let's try to get them in there. But then it's like, they don't have the resources. They run out of the resources. It's like they have not unlimited money, but their budget's pretty limitless,
Yeah.
You do that and you get that promotion and like you think Bauer and Mission do a stream and they're like, hey guys, Tours, Narch, State Wars, we're going to do the streaming for all these. It's going to be under Mission Bauer's website. Kids go customize a stick and like, oh, there's a roller hockey game on, go to customize some skates. Like, oh, like let's go click the roller hockey link, go check out a game. Like I remember when I was younger, Mission used to have it on their website, the list of all the guys who were sponsored in pro. Like, you would know everybody for roller hockey. Like you would see them all, the team they played for, state they're from. And I would look on that every week, like see who's getting updated, like check it out. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Now it's like nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
The website's gone. Everything's gone.
Yeah, it's and that's what someone in chat said Sherwood.
See, like another cool one, like they're still trying to come up. Like they have the resources, but they're giving DeBrincat money, Kachuk, Bedard, like that. They're spending a lot of money to have those guys using that gear,
And I think not even, even just doing sponsoring the tournaments, which is not going to really cost them a crazy amount of money, right? And I think even if these big brands just even posted about roller,
yeah, that's what I mean,
and just sent out a post, like a couple posts this summer, and I think that would do a lot for roller hockey.
And Dan, that's why we really need solid video coverage.
Exactly,
is because if they have some really nice stuff to show and to use for their advertisements, maybe we could get them to do it.
I mean, and you think about all these young influencers that have these young videographers that are doing all their stuff and they're actually like putting it out nice. Like Nasher, he posts those videos. Pablo Barber, like all these guys that these kids look up to have all these good videographers and they're young. I'm sure you can get them because they're, it's all about paying with Bauer and all them. I'm sure you can get them for cheap. And I'm sure they would love it. You said, hey, you guys, these are the 3 weekends you're going to have to take off for the year. And you can do whatever you're influencing you want the rest of the year. And come do this for these weekends. We'll pay you this X amount of dollars. And you guys all come together as one and create this streaming platform and video platform. And you post on our Bauer and Mission Instagram account. Like it's right there. I mean, those kids are young that are doing that videography. They're not old 50-year-olds that have been in the industry forever,
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's the way to do it.
How about this? Bud Light is the official beer of the NHL. What's the official beer of Pro Roller?
Speaking for our team, Labatt Blue Light.
Okay.
That is our official sponsor if we could. And we've definitely went to a couple of places and drank them out of Blue Light. But I think a lot of guys go for Coors because it's so universal. Coors is I usually see a lot. But like
we're a Modelo's team.
Yeah, Modelo, that's good too. That's a West Coast thing.
We go to tournaments and we hit the nearest gas station, and by the end of the weekend, we completely wipe out the entire shelf of Modelo's and Modelo Oros. Gone.
Yeah, we got on Modelo's when I was out going in Cali and stuff. That was huge Modelo's. But I say for our team, Labatt Blue Light, and then really like these tournaments here is usually like Coors, Bud Light. But that would be another good sponsor too.
Yeah, Coors, Modelo, Labatt. It's open to you guys. If you guys want to be the beer of
Labatt has their pond hockey. So they're in hockey. They're just more ice hockey than they are for roller. But
they're like active stuff on like since like social media too. Like my buddy, like he's in Colorado, like he lives in Colorado, and like posted a thing like skiing with a blue light. They like reposted it on like they text him like, hey, can we use this for our main page, and like use it for their main page. So they're pretty active on social media. So maybe you just got the Rage Cats a blue light sponsor.
hey,
Let's
we'll
do
clip it. We'll clip it, and then we'll put it on social media and we'll tag all those names.
Get them all. Whoever wants to come first, we'll drink all your beer and promote it.
Hell yeah.
Good stuff.
You can go to State Wars, and on the announcer, you can stumble in the rink, and then the announcer will be like, "Oh, he must have had too many Labatt Blues before the game."
It's the Labatt. It's the Labatt blue light Konixx Rage Cats.
Well,
Fun.
man, I think that's what we got to do is we got to get these big brands in, get them bought in, have them posting some roller hockey stuff, and let people know how sick it is.
It's the only way. When I was younger, like when I was like 8 years old, I don't know if you guys were like still in the game then, but like that was like when tour hockey was massive. Like we were Tour Bordercats then, and that brand was blowing up everywhere for roller hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of slowly got them way out. Because it's not, I mean, in all reality, it's not sustainable. I mean, when you start mass producing roller hockey stuff with little brands like that, it's not sustainable. Like that's how Alkali kind of disappeared, and now they're coming back because they got new people that own them.
Yeah.
But it's like that thing is like that's why those big brands just have to take control. And like, sure, maybe you just don't mass produce as many Mission skates or Bauer skates, and you'll still make your money. But just come show a face. Come out to a tournament, show a face.
Yeah.
Don't do a table. That's cool. But like when I used to go to State Wars, you would have to be able to try out skates. Like you can play with them in your game. They would have a thing where you could go like a shooting tunnel at targets and like all the sticks. And like as a kid, you're doing that for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like it's more so a showing face there. Like we get it. We all know who Bauer and CCM and Mission is, but come show a little face, and we've been giving you guys all money enough for years. Come give some back.
Damn straight.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably a good spot to leave it at there.
Yep. I like it.
Man, we appreciate you being here.
For sure, man. I appreciate it anytime. I'm always willing. I mean, you guys ever need any other guests? I mean, let me know. I mean, I got a lot of contacts in this roller world. I've been around it for 20-something years. So
sure.
For sure, I can help you guys out.
Spread the word.
And we're just trying to spread the stories of roller hockey, man. And we appreciate you coming on.
For sure. Hopefully see you guys at one of these tournaments this year. You have to keep in contact. Let me know what things you guys are doing.
Yeah, we'll do.
We will.
For sure. Awesome, man. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the video. Love the comments on this episode. You guys are great, and gals. If you're forechecking in roller hockey, don't let up because there's no offsides. I'm Dan Dean.
I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrew Hite.
Thanks for joining us. And if you're watching, we got a little surprise because USRC's winner is about to be put on the screen. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Thank you.
See you
guys.
Peace, guys.
All right, and now it's time to find out who the winner of the USRC free entry fee giveaway is. Let's figure it out. Congratulations, Hunter Mueller. We are going to be sending you a message, and congratulations. See you at a tournament.